That intro went really weird at the start, despite loads of testing. How bizarre. How bizarre. Good afternoon, wonderful human beings. Welcome back to the channel on a odd day. I'm sorry that it's a Saturday. I'm sorry I didn't stream last night. I'm sorry I'm doing this quite late. But I did promise you a reaction stream to the preview show. Here is that stream. We're going to watch the show along. I have not watched it at all. I have some ideas of what's coming based on what I know. I don't have any knowledge of what's in the preview show. I have actually managed to avoid all spoilers. I turned off auto-downloaded images in the Thanes chat. I didn't read it. I skimmed it through on a couple of occasions, saw my name and responded. I didn't read it. I haven't looked at Instagram. I haven't gone on Facebook. I've basically ignored it all. In fact, to be fair as well, the reason why yesterday's stream didn't happen is because we took the kids to the prom and we thought, hour and a half, they'll get bored, they want to come home. Actually, they both had a wonderful time, and for two slightly social recluses who don't typically normally get on with other kids, etc., it was quite important for me to allow them to carry on, right? It was quite important for me to allow them to stay. We didn't leave till gone 10 o'clock. They had such a good time. I really appreciate you all for not hammering me for not doing a stream and for turning up today for the watch along. So I didn't get back till late, and then I didn't know it's 90 minutes long. I didn't get back till late, and then it was dinner, bed. Got up this morning, started editing some footage for a different channel. So I actually haven't had the chance to look. I haven't looked at all. I've avoided all spoilers, chat. And so I'm going to watch it live with you wonderful people. And you'll get to see my reaction to these things live, because I haven't got a fucking clue what's coming, really. Like I said, I've got an idea. But you get to watch a live watch-along. Even if you already know, it might be interesting, it might be fun, it might be enjoyable. If it is, please make sure you smash all of those magical YouTube buttons for us, so you can hit that like button if you enjoy the content. Smash subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon if you want to be notified of all go lives, all live streams, etc. You can also support the channel by becoming members or gifting memberships or super chatting. I would only ask that you don't super chat spoilers for me right now, pretty please, if you don't mind. I'd like people to get an authentic reaction to this video rather than spoilers coming through. So if you want to support me in the short term, the best way to do that is members. We obviously missed the 100 membership goal last night because we were too busy allowing the kids to enjoy themselves on their once per year prom. So please forgive me, like I say. A big shout out, Matt O'Reilly, for the 20 gifted memberships off the bat. You absolute legend. And Evan coming in with one as well. You are heroes. Matt, thank you so much. You wonderful human being. Hope Australia is good.
If you don't hate everything, you're a GW shill and they pay you.
Oh,
face emoji.
Fritters, the comment from that one dude after that fucking stream on Thursday is unbelievable. If we'd have done last night's stream as a proper After Dark stream, he would have absolutely featured on Cunt of the Week. Without doubt. We'd have brought that segment back because it was worthwhile. Dreadnoughty, thank you for the one gifted. You're a legend. But hey, can't win them all. Some people are just idiots. Some people are just naturally fucking thick. Okay, right, cool. So, if I get up the Warcom article, which I think is going to give me what I need, the big summer Warhammer preview show, all of the reels in one place. Here it is. Right. I don't want to click on too much. Boldrick, thank you for the one gifted. I'll be adding these, obviously, eventually as well.
Rotten eggs. Loud car parts.
Hey, thank you, Kianon, for the 5 gifted memberships. You're a legend. What a hero. Let's get this train going. I appreciate that massively, by the way. Times are hard right now, but you know, it is what it is. We're having fun. So let's get this party started. An hour and 49 minutes. Is this for real? On Twitch? Is it not on demand on YouTube as well? Okay, I mean, I guess it is what it is. Why is it at 14 already? Is that because of where I clicked it? Let's start from the beginning. We don't need to watch all this, do we? In fact, what I do need to do in the short term, thinking about it, is I do need to turn Vinny's music off. Because that could get irritating, couldn't it? Right, Vinny's music is off. Good. Back to the show. It's on YouTube. Is it on YouTube is on demand? Let me see if I can find it on demand on YouTube first, because I don't want to watch it on Twitch if I can help it, because Twitch is fucking horseshit. I'm not a Twitch fan. I don't know if you can tell. I assume they just give you a link to the website that was the best fucking quality, but obviously not. It is on YouTube. Okay, cool. Let's fix that problem for me. Okay, so it's not an hour and 40, good. Thank God it's not an hour and 40, that would have made me cry. What, Sevens? Are you fucking kidding me, Games Workshop?
Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are very excited to welcome you today to the big summer Warhammer preview. My name is Adam Troke. I'm joined by my friend and colleague Eddie Eccles, and it is our delight to host this show.
Yeah, very exciting. We have a big preview today.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of Warhammer. We've got stuff from all sorts of different settings, from Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, some Horus Heresy in the mix there as well. There's a little bit of something for everybody, it's fair to say.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Let's talk about how it's going to work a little bit. If you're new, maybe this is your first Warhammer preview you've joined in.
Company chat.
We are your hosts, but we are not alone. We have the excellent Simon Grant sat over there in Question Corner. Simon, what are you doing today?
Hey folks, welcome to the show. I'm going to be fielding questions on behalf of Eddie and Adam. So if you do have any questions that you'd like to ask them, please start your question with question in big letters, capital letters at the start of all your comments, and I will do my best to track them, and hopefully we'll get an opportunity later on in the show to ask Eddie and Adam those questions.
Perfect. Thanks, Simon. We're going to be taking some breaks throughout the
This is on purpose, it can't be.
To try and field a few of those questions. We have a lot of content to cover off. We think we're going to be here for between an hour and 90 minutes.
How can I go out in 4K and then a multi-million company puts this out?
We're aware the chat is still filling up. There's people flooding in from around the world.
Honestly.
So the first thing I'd like to do is throw a question out there, maybe get you involved, which is let us know where in the world you're from.
How did I guess?
And I always enjoy the answer. And while you start punching in your coordinates, not too specific, I've got a question for you, Eddie. Done any hobby lately?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Adam. Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of Horus Heresy hobby.
Very nice. You said you were going to.
I did, and I did. So I've got some white scars on my table at the moment, got them all sprayed up, and I've started painting a jet bike, but using some of the Horus Heresy transfers on the side. So
Matt, thank you for 20 more gifted.
Looking forward to getting some of those done. I've also got some Space Wolves. I bought the new Space Wolf box, like a lot of people. Very excited by the new Space Wolf army as well.
It's very, even as a Dark Angels fan,
it's a lovely box. Tempting. I think that has brought a lot of people to Fenris. That particular box. How about yourself? Have been doing
The short answer is yes. I bought myself some a new kill team.
I assume you guys can hear this, right?
Yesterday, and I'm going to have a crack at that. I've not really painted kill team stuff. I've always used things from my main army. The other thing, it's only went to the Throne of Skulls with my good friend Damien O'Byrne, and we brought home a gold medal, which was super fun to play so many games of the Middle-earth Strategy Battle game together with so many lovely. Huge shout out. I met a father and son team who'd flown all the way across to join in from the US, and they're now hiking around the mountains somewhere in Spain.
What an unexpected journey.
Literally. Tremendous. So I hope you get to tune in wherever you are. It was really fun. Thank you to all my opponents who played, and then
I wasn't
such a horrible person to play against. Always nice. So, Si, where are people from?
All over the place.
Fuck off, I don't care.
So we've got folks from Australia, Canada, Europe, that one.
Only the very best. Right. So, as I said before, we've got about 90 minutes.
Where are folks from? Australia, New Zealand, Germany, France, England, Australia, America. Guess what? I can tell already.
Probably look to begin.
Yeah, let's get stuck in, shall we?
Right. So, Raph, punch the first video.
So just before we go in, the new guy, he's a little bit peculiar, but just bear with, okay?
If they ever actually paid professionals, this company, the company would be dangerous, wouldn't it? Votann. Oh. That's cool. He's cool. I like him. New Custodes Shield Captain, right? I mean, it's a lot of new stuff, thankfully.
Just two little dudes on a road trip.
What an incredible set of reveals for the Leagues of Votann.
Yeah, so this is the largest release for the Leagues of Votann since the initial release of the army. This is a huge expansion,
fuck all else,
all in
really.
plastic for that force. There is new heavy infantry, there's some new artillery, there's loads of new really characterful characters to add into the army, there's some new vehicles, all sorts of stuff. So there's the kind of shot of the full army there, but let's take a closer look at some of the specific models.
Been waiting for this ever since Votann were first released. Finally feels like a full faction.
Yeah, I mean, it needed fleshing out, Canon, right?
But units being added into the force. We'll start with the Arcanist Evaluator.
Yeah, so within the Leagues of Votann, they're not afraid of developing technology and expanding their understanding. And so an Arcanist Evaluator is kind of aside from the ordinary kin within sort of the war bands that
I guarantee as well, chat, by the way, I guarantee, because I see what some of you are saying in chat, I'll be the one playing Votann in the future. Guarantee it.
operate. He's a member of the science guilds that are responsible for new technologies, and he brings to battle
okay.
an
I don't like
experimental
the head.
weapon in
I'd
the
have
closing
him put the
phases of
helmet on.
development. This is a transmatter inverter.
It's a cool name.
Yeah, it's got 4 fire modes, and on the highest one, it literally triggers lethal atomic transformations. What that means is death.
Yeah, so he's taken out his new experimental weapon basically to the battlefield to see if it is, as he suspects, powerful enough to melt Space Marines, tanks, or Tyranid monsters, whatever he happens to come up against.
Here's our
Pretty
new
much
model,
yes
but we're
to
going
the
to film
yes
it in
to all of
such a
the above.
way that it looks like
He's not part of
cam
the
because we
official
only
sort
can do
of Leagues of
720p.
Votann military hierarchy, so he doesn't join your units necessarily, but he kind of hangs around in your army next to them, and he's got kind of lone operative ability if
I
he's
don't
near
think
your
Tom
infantry,
or
that
Joe
sort
want
of
to
thing.
play,
But a very useful character
Leagues of
little model
Votann,
to
so it's
add
gonna
into
probably
your
fall to me.
Leagues of Votann force, and a nice way of kind of showing the some of the kind of lore and culture of the army as well, of the Leagues of Votann.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a glimpse behind the sort of the curtain, isn't it? And you can see some really cool things that sort of key into that. He's got these optics on his weapon that you can almost imagine sort of recording the data.
Are they eyes or lenses, though? They look like
results.
lenses,
That's a very
right?
cool head as well, kind of mad scientist vibe going on.
Yeah, and if you wanted to, there's a separate, a different head that you can have, which is helmeted, or if you just fancy some health and safety protocols, then
Absolutely.
That's the way to go. Next up, my absolute
very
standout
cartoony,
favourite.
that.
This is the thing that made me march into Warhammer World yesterday and buy some Leagues of Votann models for myself.
Okay, he's
The
calling
Memnor
now. He's calling
Strategist.
on the first preview, actually.
He is an Ironkin. Those of you who are
There's a map. What's that map?
fans of the League of Votann will understand that the Ironkin are
Abominable
essentially-
intelligences.
Well, not in their mind, but they're artificial intelligences which they hold an equal position within Votann society. There's a CU unit inside of each of them.
I actually quite like him
and that's sort
now.
of
In the
within that
first server, I was
iron
like, I'm not
dome
bothered
that is on
about
his
it. Now
head.
seeing
The
him like
first
that, I
really
actually
cool
think
thing
he's
about
quite a
this
cool model.
Is that you see
I
the
quite like
little
him.
noodly things that are on in the Imperium, you call them mechadendrites, right? These cables that come out of him. Each of those is an additional CU unit. So he is the combined intelligence of multiple Ironkin, essentially, and he uses that to enormous effect in terms of strategy and tactics on the battlefield, directing the efforts
quite
of
like
the
Votann
kin
on the whole.
around him. It keys into a
John, you
rule as
fucking
well, which is
legend.
known as yield points, which we'll talk a
Three
little
more
bit more
gifted.
about
You're a
later.
hero. We're on 68
and
team.
Most importantly, he looks amazing.
It's a very, very cool miniature, isn't it? Really characterful. I think also
32
got
to go.
some spare arms on the front
Yeah,
there, which is holding onto
bonus
his
arms.
holding onto his little data pad. He's tapping away on there. Giving
I quite
orders
like
to
this
all
model.
the
This one's
various,
cool. I'm into
kin
it.
and Leagues of Votann units across the battlefield. And his main pair of arms he's used to sort of hold in his contemplative state, which is the exact pose that I have when I'm considering my movement phase in Warhammer 40,000.
And if you want to dazzle your friends with some knowledge, the array he's got on his
Thank you
back
so
is
much,
called a
John. I love you.
cognitar mantle.
I hope the stream went really
and that's
well. I haven't
where
caught
he
up with
gets,
it
like,
yet.
his extra brain power from.
It's for later.
Really sensational. Speaking of Ironkin, these are a new unit of Ironkin. They are called the Steeljacks. 2 types of metal in one name. Eddie, what's the story?
Yeah, so this is the Ironkin Steeljacks. They are a specialist war, kind of more warrior type of Ironkin. A lot of the Ironkin are fairly sort of helpful. They're kind of
they
default
fill normal civilian roles in society.
Default state is a sort of friendly, affable helpers for the Leagues of Votann for the kin. These are a much more warlike programming, so they march out actively into battle, seeking conflict.
These are cool, but they don't look very squatty.
Very large suits of armor, so they stand kind of almost twice the height of a kin or a League of Votann warrior, and they have got some pretty decent weaponry as well. You can kit them out in a variety of different ways. You can either go combat leaning. This is an example there, where you can have like concussion fists and bolt guns, or you can go with a ranged option. In game terms, they work a little bit like Wraithguard, I suppose, is the closest approximate. So very durable unit, quite powerful weaponry, very good for doing things like moving on to an objective and trying to hold on to it, and fighting off enemy counterattacks, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, in real terms, heavily armed, heavily armoured.
I thought they're going to feel weird in a Votann army.
You see the leader in the squad. As you looked at these pictures by the Primarch crest, which sort of rises above his head. There we are in the background. He's got a plasma sword. Guy on the front's got a concussion fist. Great new addition to the Leagues of Votann army.
I mean, I think they look cool, but I don't feel like they fit right in a Votann army.
The Chthonian Earthshaker.
These I like.
Some really strong energy from that sort of rogue trader era. Do you remember Mole?
I like these a lot.
Very well, yes.
These are sort of inverse artillery in that rather than lobbing a shot high above the enemy, they fire those mole shells that you can see down at the bottom deep into the ground. They burrow in on the enemy and emerge in a trench line, in a bunker, and just blow everyone to kingdom come.
Each one of these is a really lovely sort of diorama in their own right as well, so you can see the...
Heresy World Tour is ending, flying back home in 2 hours. Miss you, can't wait to get back. FY I got my ass handed to me in game. Vulcan is a beast, goddamn lol. Vulcan lives. Votann stuff is amazing. Tomb King amazing.
Thank you, Cornet Ed, for the 5 gifted. John, I'm glad you've enjoyed your Heresy World Tour. It was a genuine pleasure having you, and as always, you can come back whenever you want and we can play more Heresy on stream. We can play 40k on stream. We could just chill out if you wanted to and hang out. You don't have to go on stream at all. You're a legend. Chat, John's a legend. Everyone tell him he's a legend. It puts us on 80. Thanks to Cornet Ed. It puts us on 83 now, I think is what we're currently sat at. Thank you so much, you wonderful human beings. We've got 17 to go for a target, and we're 18 minutes into a stream. You're amazing. I love you all.
The kin there working with the Iron Kin, loading up the artillery.
I like these
quite a lot. You can see one of them there with his little scanner, almost directing the mole as it kind of buries underground towards the enemy fortifications. Obviously, it's a powerful piece in game. You've got all sorts of...
obviously, it's a powerful piece of game.
This will bolster your Leagues of Votann force, which at the moment maybe doesn't have a huge amount of very long-range artillery. And yeah, I think it's a great kit, really.
Awesome. Speaking of the bigger models that are inside this launch, we have the Capricus. So the Capricus is one of those kits that makes 2 things. You can see here the Capricus Defender. We'll show you the Capricus Carrier in a minute. Essentially, it is either a sort of attack vehicle for the...
Is this not just like the current buggy but without wheels? It's just like a Sagittar but without wheels and a...
the Hernkin, or it's a transport vehicle. They've got so this is the carrier. So it's a smaller gun. It's got less other weapons on it, and you can see the stowage bag for the crew that will ride in the back. Whichever you take, essentially this is enabling your Hernkin to get around from A to B and hold the ground that they're taking.
Yeah, so it adds a bit of a mobility into your Leagues of Votann force. It carries 5 models, so it works a little bit like the other kind of Leagues of Votann transports, where you pick one of your units, can split into 2 groups of 5. 5 of them can ride around in one of these. If you've got 2 of the transports, you can obviously ride them around in 2 of the transports.
These are cooler.
And as you say, Adam, you can choose between either having the transport option, or you can just have all the guns and have a fast-moving fire support unit.
Yeah, for me this is stunning. This is what made me march off to Warhammer World yesterday and buy the Hernkin.
There's some really lovely...
Isn't he lying? He just said that the other character made him storm off to Warhammer World and buy stuff. Like, you can't say that twice. You can't say that the dude with all the floating heads made him stomp off to Warhammer World and buy some Votann, and then go, oh yeah, this was one that made me stomp off to Warhammer World and buy...
Little touches on this. The stowage bags are really nice at the back. I like that you can build this with 2 Ironkin as well. So if you want an Ironkin pilot and an Ironkin gunner, you can build them like that. Fans of Ironkin generally, there is a lot of Ironkin in this
quite well
Leagues of Votann release.
Absolutely so. There's also a new combat patrol for the Leagues of Votann on the way. We're all familiar with combat patrols.
That's a great combat patrol.
If you're new, let me explain what they do. It's a fantastic way to start an army. or to bolster an army if
do
you've
some
already got
Votann
one.
now.
This one really focuses on those sort of kin bands that make up the mainstay of the force. You've got the Thunderers in the background, the Hearth Guard in the middle. It's just wonderful ingredients to bulk out a force.
Yeah, there's some really useful units in there as well. Like, you don't tend to see a League of Votann army that doesn't have all of those units.
Yeah,
in.
there's no wastage there.
So
right?
it's all good stuff. A couple of boxes of these, and then a couple of the new units, and you've got an army.
You're
basically.
away. Yeah, absolutely so. Now, on to, for many people's opinion, I expect the main event of this
cool
release.
as shit.
This is Bury Egnisson. Eddie?
So Bury Egnisson is the last survivor of a Leagues of Votann clan, which has been consumed by the encroaching Tyrannid menace. He is known as the Thrice Devoured. A Tyrannid monster has actually eaten this guy, but that wasn't enough to keep him down. He clawed his way out of its gullet, climbed his way back out to safety 3 times, apparently,
Yep.
and now goes across the galaxy, across the kin warbands as a roving Tyrannid killing specialist.
Yeah,
effectively.
absolutely. He's in terms of specialist, he is an absolutely elite combat unit. He's equipped with that
He's
Dark Star
cool
blade,
as
which you see
shit.
there, which is called Bane. He's pure violence in melee form.
I think you're going to get a lot of this guy in armies because his rules are very good. He is. He's got a great combat stat line, but he's also a lone operative.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine this guy advancing either on his own or alongside, kind of behind your forces, and swooping in on the big enemy monsters and stuff that get forward to threaten your battle line.
Yeah, he's the prettiest
his lore
Tyrannid
really
warrior in
comes into it.
existence.
So he's a member of, well, he's the only member now of an organisation called the Emberg Aegnir Block, which is one of the Leagues of Votann. Literally wiped out down to the very last kin, which is this guy. And so he's so bitter, his whole life is devoted now to just hunting down the Tyrannid menace and supporting other leagues to stop the same thing happening to them. And you see that played out on his model. He's got this sort of belt buckle, which very much looks like he's sort of taken some affectations from the Tyrannids. He's got what looks like, we've been having quite a discussion about this, a Tyrannid Prime sort of cadaver.
I think it's a
over his
Tyrannid
head.
Prime that he's got over the top of his head.
Yeah.
There's a nice little nod in this model as well to there's like the idea at some point that the squats were eaten by the Tyrannids.
Yeah, absolutely. We
And
used to-
this guy kind of goes, well, yeah, they were eaten by the Tyrannids, but also they clawed their way out again. So there is a little bit of truth to that sort of that outdated understanding maybe of what happened to that faction.
Fantastic.
He's cool.
And
I'd
all
like
this
him on his
obviously
own.
be supported with
That's a nice cover
Codex
as well.
Leagues of Votann, and all new codex for Warhammer 40,000, which contains. I've had quite a while to read this week. It's just full of spankingly good lore. It's got great rules and art. It explains all of the new things, obviously. In terms of the rules, there's too much to go into in any real detail here, but a thing to cover would be those yield points, which is the sort of army-wide mechanic which underpins them.
Absolutely, yeah. So yield points effectively changes the way your army works over the course of the game, and it works in the way that the Leagues of Votann approach acquisition effectively. So early on in the game, when you haven't got very many yield points, you're getting bonuses for attacking enemy units on objectives for the most part across your army. And then later on, once you've acquired yield points, you get bonuses for having your own units on objectives. So they get better at defending them, better bonuses for their own defense, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it
so
sort of encourages you to play in that very sort of acquisition-focused way that the Leagues of Votann work.
And it's a really great mechanic, right? Because it's exactly how you win games of Warhammer 40,000. Early on, you kick people off objectives. Later on, you hold on to the objectives. So
And
it's
some of the
powerful.
new units that we've shown and some of the units that already exist in the Votann army now have rules that key into that. For example, the Memnir Strategist just lets you increase or decrease your yield score by 1 each turn.
Yeah.
So really sort of thoughtfully put in so that this guy who's overseeing the total sort of tactical function of your army can just go nudge and help you out.
Yeah.
We should show some of the models.
Let's do it, yeah.
So we've got some in front of us. We're very lucky to be allowed to put our paws
I
on
can't believe
the,
how
heavy
terrible
metal
the
miniatures.
quality of the
So
stream is as well, by the way.
There'll be a bit of sort of
There's
scale
not mine.
comparison here, but here you can see this is the Arcanist, and then you've got the Memnir. They're like normal
Like a
Votann
1980s
size.
TV set.
So any kin is about the same sort of proportion as those. And here you can see just how sort of much bigger the Steeljacks are. I think your comparison, Eddie, that you made to compare them to Wraithguard is really quite fair.
Yeah, they're about the same size as a Wraithguard. It's kind of in that ballpark of kind of medium heavy infantry. This is the new artillery piece. It's maybe not like as big as something like an Imperial Guard tank or something like that, but compact, mobile, that sort of thing, fitting in with the aesthetic of the rest of the Leagues of Votann. You can sort of imagine it starting life as a piece of mining equipment, and they've sort of evolved it into a weapon.
You can definitely see sort of some of those origins. I just want to draw some attention to some of the super cool bits on it. This guy here, you can see over his shoulder, he's got like a data slate.
If only it was graphically good enough for us to actually fucking see that, Adam.
You can model open or closed. On this side, you've got a case which has more of the shells. You get spare shells to put on their own bases. It's just a really thoughtfully designed and very exciting kit. So we should show more though, because this is by no means the end of it.
Absolutely, we've got the Capricus here. So just make some space on the table so we can have a look at this guy. So this is your new
Games Workshop. We should be embarrassed.
This is the Defender pattern, which is the gun version. And as you can see there's a little bit of space, not quite enough space for transport on this one, but there is one which is a transport vehicle. But I really like the Ironkin on this.
He's got like a tiny little chair.
He's quite small, yeah, because they wouldn't fit a full-sized kin in there. So they've given him a little tiny Ironkin, actually perfectly designed for the role.
Absolutely, and I guess the star of the show himself in many ways.
He is.
Agnir
So the thrice devoured there. So he's still kind of kin-sized, but you can have a look on this model here that so much of him is now bionic.
How have they done such a bad
So
job
he's been
of this?
chewed up and
fingers that do it.
Yeah, chewed up
Really
and
cool.
spat out so many times that like his arm, bits of his arms, most of his face, perhaps a kind of unspecified amount of his body has probably been dissolved by horrible tyrannid bioacid.
I think if I
in
put
their
this
stomach
out
and
at this
things,
quality,
but he's still kicking. But
but
also shows how durable the kin are, right? So they're specially designed by their Votann to be durable, to endure kind of the most hostile conditions, and he's a good example of how that's kind of manifesting.
Yeah, that's really cool, isn't it? I think we've covered this.
For having better cameras than the GW stream.
It's not hard though, is it, Arkigdor? Like, normally they're okay, their quality's decent. For this particular stream, I don't think you need to work hard to have a better camera.
Covered the league thoroughly, right?
Yeah.
Before we move on, we're going
I'm
to go
sneezing
to the
'cause I'm
old world
allergic
next.
to
A
such
couple
shit.
of sort of housekeeping bits. The first one would be, we're going to return to the 41st Millennium at the end of the preview. So particularly if you like Kill Team, but also there's some other things for other factions as well. Do hang around if you like Warhammer 40,000. The other thing I would say is that lots of the people who mentioned that they were joining us from around the world, you can interact with our social teams. We have international social teams that manage our various sort of social media places. Sort of make sure that you get to hear about Warhammer in the language that suits you. So, and if you speak English or you're willing to take a pot shot at it, these are our socials as well. So please come and join the conversation.
Yeah, we'll see you there. Yep.
Right, time for a little bit of Warhammer the Old World.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, first up, we have brand new units for the Tomb Kings of Khemri. This is a new multi-part plastic kit that makes the Royal Heralds. The easiest way to describe these is that you have a battle standard bearer and you have a new hero/lord. You could call it a Tomb Prince or a Tomb King. I think it's
I quite like Tomb Kings on the whole.
You get a battle standard, which you can put on either thing. So if you fancy a faster moving battle standard, stick it on the horse guy. If you fancy him like standing around in one of your big regiments of skeleton warriors or tomb guard, then go for the on foot version. There's some options in terms of head things as well.
I just think we're a
Battle
long
standard
way off
bearers
me
are
ever
key
jumping
to
into
Warhammer
Old World,
armies,
shall I be
so
honest.
if you play the Old World, you'll know.
Yeah, I love this battle standard. That kind of weird Scorpion, both the paint scheme and the model itself are very cool. As you say, this is multi-part as well, so you can swap and change if you want the faster one, if you've got lots of chariots or something in your army.
It's cool.
You can mix them in. I would imagine there's a fair bit of customizability between this kit and some of the other Tomb Kingy bits as well.
Yes, yeah, not just within this kit itself, but also I think things like the Tomb Guard, for example. So this isn't the only new plastic kit coming for the Tomb Kings of Khemri. We also have the Leech Priests.
Oh,
who
they're
are
cool.
Fundamental to the workings, literally, of the Tomb Kings.
Yeah, you absolutely need Lich Priests in your army if you've got a Tomb King's army. Your army only woke up because you had Lich Priests. It's their job to kind of keep the magic flowing that keeps your army marching forward. Again, this is a multi-part kit. There's some lovely options on these. You can see they're perhaps a little bit less dead than some of the other Khemri, but they're still very definitely desiccated. Definitely spent far too long in the desert inside a pyramid somewhere. I love the vulture on the top of the staff.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for bringing that back. It's a really lovely image, these sort of animated creatures that have sort of come alive through the magic of the ritual.
17
I
members
think you
to
were
go
saying as
still
well,
team,
that
by
looks
the
like
way.
it's
Just so
right
you know.
out of a piece of Warhammer art.
Yeah,
Like,
the mounted guy in particular, I think they're both exquisite. But the mounted guy, from sort of the perfect angle, he just looks like the artwork, and I mean that is the highest possible compliment.
The mounted guy is cool as shit. I do like him.
Thinking veterans might be wondering if that's extra armor on the skeletal steed. It certainly is. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But yes, you can have a barded skeletal steed, which I think might be quite useful if you're used to terrible armor saves in your Tomb King's army. I guess we can talk about that now. If we go across to also coming out is a new arcane journal, The War of Cetra's Fury. Cetra, the imperishable, is very, very angry. His lands have been defiled. He feels like he owns everything. And he is launching a full-scale invasion northward into the sort of border region between the Empire and Bretonnia, sort of known as the Vaults. It's also inhabited by some dwarfs, and you've got sort of dispossessed barons and nobles from both the Empire and Bretonnia, and so they are forced to rally in defence of a full-scale invasion of the undead from Khemri. There are rules for sort of allied forces, playing smaller games in like a timely and interesting fashion. It's just packed, and it's a really cool way of looking at the lore of the old world and how they're sort of explaining the things that took place in this particular part of the Warhammer timeline.
Yeah, it's great to get some new lore for the old world as well. I think
yeah, absolutely.
The team diving into the opportunities that the world allows.
It really equally exciting. This is Dawn of the lady pictured in the centre. She's one of the children of the Dragon Emperor, and she learns of the Chaos Invasion which is happening in the north and is concerned that it's going to gain too much traction, so loads ships full of Grand Cathayan soldiers and sails to the Empire, sets up an enclave and helps to try and stymie this Chaos Invasion. In real terms, that's A, a cool story, and B, there's rules in there for all sorts of things, including the opportunity to have an allied force of Grand Cathay and the Empire of Man.
That's exciting. That's exciting. We've never had anything like that before, really, have we? So
yeah,
I wish it was more exciting. There's too much old stuff in it. I know it sounds ironic being the old world, Dan,
really
but
sort of bold and
I'm such a high elf, wood elf fan, and it's
studio
just
team
shit at the
responsible for the old
moment.
world are doing. They clearly love the setting.
It's
They want to
definitely dropped down my
explore it in
list
really
now
rich and
that
vibrant
Heresy's
detail.
so good.
sounds great.
Absolutely. So, we should throw over to Question Corner.
No.
The answer is no. We've got 90 minutes to rail through as much stuff as we can, as fast as we can. We'll cover way more detail about Votann rules and mechanics and all those things as we lead towards it. But you're in for some subtle changes in the way the leagues of Votann work, and it's quite exciting.
Cool.
There'll be a
We've got
Warhammer
another one
articles
which
that
were
probably be wrong.
The funky drill shell tokens on the Chthonian Earthshaker. What do they represent?
So I do have a really short and candid answer for that. You saw them on the little base beside. The kit comes designed for you to have 2 of those. Mind, if I remember correctly, and don't like sue me internet if I get it wrong, you put them down alongside the Earthshaker when you deploy, and you can remove one from the game to give yourself rerolls on wound rolls as you're playing. So yeah, kind of fun. It's like it represents something and you take it off and you spend it.
Yeah, so the unit is kind of set up so that they have some specialist shells, so that'd be like representing the unit being like, right, we're going to use one of the big ones now. This is the important shot.
Perfect.
And probably got time for one more, so let's go with how many models can the Capricus carrier transport?
Great question.
It carries 5.
Said it carries 5.
It works a little bit like some of
Listen!
the other Leagues of Votann transports, where you take a unit of
What?
musical
I
intents,
said this. Why ask a
rounded
fucking?
nose, or you-
Why ask a fucking question in the chat that they've already answered? And for the dickhead in Question Corner, why ask a question that they've already answered? They already said it takes 5. They already said that you could take a unit of 10 and split them in half to put them in the transport. They already said this.
can leave.
Comes instead, Battle Tome.
Oh.
Things for us to talk about here. And let's start with a new Battle Tome for Death, the Death Grand Alliance. These are the Flesh Eater Courts. Many of you will be
Well, I want
familiar
new
with
models.
them. These are the
Give me new models.
like foul and abominable cannibal monstrosities who unfortunately have delusions, quite literally, of being noble and elegant and chivalric, and the truth couldn't be sort of further from that.
Yeah, they absolutely imagine that they are in service to some grand king on perhaps a grand crusade of some sort, or part of a pageant, or a noble feast of some sort, but are in fact horrible, degenerate cannibals, as you say. The new Battle Tome has all the stuff.
Reckon
you
the questions are
expect,
planted.
lots of
Almost
new ways to
definitely, Kai, I
use
reckon.
your army, new magic abilities, new enhancements, changes to some of the way the War Scrolls work. So lots of exciting stuff. And perhaps most excitingly, there is a new miniature on the way to accompany them, which is the High Falconer Felgrin. So much like the rest of the Flesh Eater Courts, this guy is under an illusion. His particular delusion is that he is a falconer in charge of noble and wise avian creatures, where in fact he is in charge of a swarm of rabid bats.
He's
the model
kinda
is very
cool.
characterful. Like he's got his kind of weird, crazy hat. He's got
You can see
kind of
the almost like the vestiges of that nobility that you were just referring to, right? He's got like a very sort of like huntsman-y style hat on
Yep.
and the tattered robes of a person that might be performing that duty, but he's also got guts hanging off.
It's
the
a
trees
very
quite
fun.
well.
It's a very fun miniature. I think in the spinning shot, maybe you can just picture it. But there's a bat that comes with him, which is basically a token
Yes, Andrew,
that
you can.
represents something in the game, where he sends one of his falcons off to spy an enemy unit, and that can give you bonuses in games, basically. So these are the kind of spies, the eyes and ears of the Flesh Eater Courts. And if he direct it to an enemy unit, it can give your squires, your kind of ghouls.
I think he's a really
bonuses
cool
against
model.
that
I
enemy
like him
unit.
quite
You
a
can do
lot.
things like take away their ward save and get better at killing them, basically. So a very useful unit to have in your game, and a very characterful model for your army.
Nice. There's also accompanying this release for the Flesh Eater Courts, the Charnel Watch. This is a new spearhead, so you can use it straight in games of spearhead, or you can use this to bulk out, or maybe you can use this to bulk out your existing Flesh Eater Courts army. This is a fast-moving, hard-hitting, infantry-focused spearhead. It's got models that you'll be very familiar with, and the way that they synergize within this game, within Spearhead, is really fun. Expect sort of lightning assaults, and then using monstrous-sized infantry to sweep the enemy away.
Yeah, also a great start to a larger Age of Sigmar
absolutely.
army for Flesh Eater Courts. It combos really nicely with the existing Flesh Eater Courts spearhead. So if
Yeah.
you've got that already, you can add this in, and you've basically got most of an army. Some really good stuff. A couple of the cannibal monkeys in there as well, which
It's what
always
everybody
a winner.
needs, right?
Who
I
doesn't?
quite like Flesh Eater Courts. They're cool.
There's another battle tome for the sort of death faction, which is the Nighthaunt. Here we have Death
love
Battle Tome
Nighthaunt
Nighthaunt. They're a very popular, iconic faction within the Mortal Realms. They sort of had their place within the second edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and they've really sort of cemented their spot as sort of beloved. This book is like ram-packed with the lore that explains them all, as well as all of the war scrolls and information that you would need. I was talking to an avid Nighthaunt player about this yesterday, who was super excited because he's sort of in the know enough to know, for example, that their ward saves are improving across the board, and so he's very excited to try those in games.
Yeah, there's some significant defensive buffs for the Nighthaunt, certainly, with this battle tome. Generally speaking, you're finding that the units have a bit more health. The way that their immunity to rend works has changed a little bit. So generally their normal saves are a little bit worse, but you can now bolster them with things like all-out defense. And their ward saves are across the board a 5 up or better, which is pretty solid.
Yeah, perfect. But let's get on to the model, which is brand new coming out with this release, which is the Lord Vitriolic.
cool.
This is a very disturbing creature. In life, it was something like a poisoner or a maker
Snake
of
oil
like
merchant
yeah,
of some
fake
sorts,
potions and curatives.
We know
who
snake oil
deceived
merchants,
people
don't we,
and
chat?
Sort of let them down or led them to ruin. And Nagash is able to claim his soul because of his sort of malpractices, evil deeds, and has reformed him into this horrific Lord Vitriolic with like backward jointed arms on top of his spine. He's horrible, but really fun in the game.
Yeah, so he's got some very fun rules. So basically, you can see his
like his
rack of
sickle.
potions on his back there. And the way that manifests in games is you can create specialist potions and throw them at enemy units. And you've got two options on how you do that. You can either just chuck a bunch of random potions at the enemy and roll some random things to see what happens to them, or you can concoct a very specific potion to do a specific job. And the effects of those can range from things like doing harm to the enemy unit, taking away some of their advantages, all the way
Named
through
after
things
the
like
Warhammer
stripping
fan
ward
base.
saves from enemy units.
Yeah,
So,
that one looks
it's a
particularly
really good little problem-solving unit. So you can go, right, what enemy am I facing? What I'd really like against this is this specific bonus or this specific debuff to the enemy unit, or just to do some damage. So I think we're going to see a lot of this guy in Nighthaunt armies.
Absolutely. And as with the Flesh Eater Courts, there is a new spearhead for the Nighthaunt. This is the Cursed Shackle Horde. It's just all the ghosts all the time, right? An absolutely brilliant box loaded with everything you'd want to either kickstart an army, reinforce an army, or play games of Spearhead.
Yeah, it's very cool. And obviously a great place to start a new Nighthaunt army.
Yeah, absolutely. Those things were cool.
They're cool.
But there's a lot of people here who have been holding onto their hats really patiently, hoping that we maybe, show them something they've never, ever seen before.
That would certainly be cool.
Why don't we start with this?
They sound so exciting, don't they? Chaos Dwarfs.
What an incredible reveal, Eddie! I know you're super excited.
I am very excited. This might be my new Age of Sigmar army. These are the Hellsmiths of Hashut. These are effectively the reincarnation of the Chaos Dwarf concept for Warhammer Age of Sigmar.
God, they're cool.
An entirely redesigned and brand new army, coming out first in an army set. Arriving alongside its new battle tome. The army set also serves as the spearhead force for the Hellsmiths of Hashut. These models are phenomenally cool. The rules are great. The lore is great. I love absolutely everything about them. Let's dive into the miniatures.
I think the first thing I want to say is let's talk about like why they are these. When the time of chaos happened in the mortal realms, the Duardin, they retreated. They survived in their holds, or they took to the skies, or whatever. But
not these guys.
But not so the Zardron, the Chaos Duardin, who would become known as the Hellsmiths of Hashut. They instead turned to Hashut, and
excitement was as low as their screen resolution.
Who taught them the ways of hellsmithing. Yeah. So, and their whole culture is based around Hashut, the Bullfather. And we're going to see that sort of writ large across all of these models.
These are fucking cool, actually.
The first thing that appears in this new army set. These are the Infernal Cohort. With
this could pull me back
spears,
to AOS,
say
legit.
Fast if you can. They are the core unit for the Hellsmiths of Hashut. They are an elite combat unit straight off the bat. These are very dangerous Duardin indeed. And the first thing to observe is those Hashutite spears. Each of them has got like a glowing orb in it. That contains imprisoned, ground down, reconstituted demon essence, because that's how they roll.
So the demon legions that invaded the various Duardin holds during the Age of Chaos, some of them took over the holds, but where the Hellsmiths of Hashut dwelled, they instead trapped those demon legions and decided to weaponize them into a fuel to power their war machines, their weapons, and their technology. So that green glow, as you say, is ground up demon juice that is powering.
I reckon they have a slot at the back of the head that says insert personality here.
So cool.
Yes, and it's
things
empty.
to talk about within this unit. Obviously, you've got like a unit champion. You see, you've got a musician. Which is like this weird combination of the bare-chested Duardin and a Hobgrot carrying a massive gong on its back, and obviously a standard bearer. It's a two-for kit. That's like internalism for this kit makes two different types of units.
I like these a lot.
And so here you have them with Hashut-type blades, basically shorter ways of killing people. They have different profiles within the game.
Yeah,
these
both
are
very useful.
fucking cool.
The spears generally are your slightly more defensive thing, so you get bonuses against enemy that's charging you, against cavalry. The swords are the slightly more offensive option, where you get bonuses for fighting into enemy infantry,
I'm a fan of these,
taking the fight to the enemy. Yeah. But both effectively heavily armoured elite infantry.
Yeah, absolutely so. And you can paint them in different colours. The studio team's done a lovely job. The banner in the middle just is a really interesting nod to sort of the Zardron culture, which is, that's a ziggurat in the middle of that banner, right, with the Bullfather's rune above. They live in ziggurat cities, and each one is ruled by a war despot.
Gong, GW, massive gong.
As if by magic, here is the war despot.
Oh, I thought you planned the whole thing.
This is my favourite model within this.
It's a great hat.
It might be my favourite of the Hellsmiths. It's just so good. Huge hat, great big spikes. He's carrying an enormous warglaive, which is glowing. See the runes at the top glowing with this sort of eldritch power. The war despots, they have to rule through a mixture of sort of violence and also through just ensuring that everybody around
like proper
them knows
Warhammer,
they
right?
are the nastiest, toughest of all of the Hellsmiths. So they are dominant figures.
Yeah, like any Duardin, they couldn't demand the loyalty of their followers unless they were able to lead from the front, basically. So they're not cowardly, but they certainly are diabolical schemers, sort of thing. So they will lead their armies into battle proudly. But
this was the one that
and
made
their
you
whole
run to
reason for
war.
being as an entire culture is it's just like weaponized greed. They plunder and take from the land, and they give nothing back. If they don't want it, they destroy it. They are like cruel in the extreme, because that's how they survived the time of chaos.
Yeah, they don't see themselves as corrupted through that. That's
No. There's no physical side effects at all to what they've gone through.
An interesting sub-point. They see themselves as almost the paragons of purest order, right? Yeah. So they've taken the assault of chaos and they've ground it down and created like order from chaos. but in the mortal realms, they're paving over the natural order and putting up the monuments to Hashut and the great ziggurats that power their industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Also within this spearhead is just this incredible centerpiece model, the Dominator engine. It's another kit that makes two things. So here you can see the immolation cannons. This is a enormous metal creation which is animated and powered by this demon energy roiling inside it. Have a look at the...
You can paint them different colors, can I? Gee thanks GW lol, there's definitely an old world single piece mini vibe about some of these chunks.
This is cool as shit.
Sort of brazier in its belly. You can see the demonic eyes peering out as like the demonic souls within a torch.
I love the flames on these things. That kind of like green into purple fire is such a beautiful sort of aesthetic. This is both an incredibly cool miniature, which I think I'm looking forward to see what painters do with this, because the heavy metal one is wonderful, but I think once this goes out into the wild and you're going
to see incredible interpretation.
Yeah, 1,000 painters painted this. It's going to be amazing. I can imagine this in beautiful non-metallics. In game, this thing is an absolute juggernaut, right? So it has a 2-up save, armor save, which in Age of Sigmar is almost unheard of. It has loads of wounds. It hits really hard. The combat version can mulch entire units. The shooting version is what you want if you want to wade into the middle of an enemy army and just set the whole thing on fire. Like a lot of the stuff in the Hellsmiths army, their kind of army mechanic allows you to harness a demon power on specific units, so you can bolster the power of it. And on these, it's particularly devastating.
Fantastic. And we're still not done. Also within
He's really cool.
You'll find this. This is the Tormentor Bombard. The Chaos Dwarfs of old, if you cast your mind back, if you're old enough like me,
this might be my favourite thing.
The world that was, the Chaos Dwarfs were renowned for devastating artillery, particularly that lobbed things far across the battlefield, and that concept has been reimagined for the Mortal Realms with this just beautiful Tormentor Bombard, raw demonic power hurled high into the air to come crashing down upon the enemy. It's deadly in the game.
Yeah, this is the war machine you use if you're being advanced on by multiple enemy units. So you can fire at a single enemy unit and the units nearby also take damage. That's how devastating this is. Very long range. I think it shoots 30 inches, which again is very good in Age of Sigmar. I think the Hellsmiths of Hashut, between this and some of their other units...
Thanks for the restream. The original was at 3 AM Japan time, so missed it and wanted to enjoy the reveal with others.
Amazing. Thank you, Craig. You're a legend.
Claim to being one of the most devastating shooting armies in the Mortal Realms.
Well, let's talk a bit more about that, because I think we have the Death Shrieker rocket battery.
Oh, that's fucking cool.
Just, like blowing up the enemy's big impressive things, right?
Yeah, so this is a monster killer, right? So where your other war machine is the thing to take out blocks of enemy infantry and kind of massed formations, this is they have one big monster that I want to be dead. You can fire this at them, and this, with a fair, with decent rolls, will take out a monster in a single volley.
Yeah, you're firing essentially a demon energy imbued bolt the size of 2 to 1, stood sort of head to toe.
That is, I like that a lot.
This launch set also includes a battle tome. It also includes all of the war scroll cards that you would want to have with your collection. It's the perfect jumping on point for an all-new Hellsmiths of Hashut army.
But that's not it.
But that's not it.
There's more.
Why don't we show you some more?
He's cool. He's cool. Oh my god, that's sick. Like an armoured flying mechanical bull.
If the launch box wasn't awesome enough, they will be followed shortly thereafter with all of those incredible models that you just saw, rounding out the force into a really substantial and impressive Warhammer Age of Sigmar army.
Yeah, immediately out of the gate, you have almost a full army offer, basically, of stuff. And we start off with one of the classic units of Warhammer returning. Bull Centaurs have been part of Warhammer for, I think, almost 35 years, something like that.
I remember being charged by these when I was like 13 or...
In their classic red with green bases back in the day. But this is a heavy cavalry unit. They are basically the experts at riding down enemy forces and crushing them under their hooves. They hit very hard. They're well armored. These are the sort of manifestation of the power of Hashut in kind of form. The Duardin here have kind of warped to be more alike to their ancient ancestor god.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, chat, I need to use the bathroom because I drank too much water because I had a headache, and I don't want to miss this because these Chaos Dwarfs actually might pull me back into AOS, right? So I'm going to dive in the toilet quickly and come back. And in the meantime, we can get 17 members under our belt and complete the membership goal. 2 seconds. Okay, we're back.
You said a thing to me earlier that I thought was really striking, which is Hashut's whole thing is like trampling the mortal realms underfoot, right? He's the Duardin gods sort of inherited a different realm and he gets stuck with the realm.
So there's loads of really great lore in the new Battle Tome, and one of the things that comes out is the idea that there were the ancestor
I love
gods
centaurs,
of,
by the way.
Duardin, and Hashut was almost like one of them, right? He was like one of the pantheon, and he was given the realm of beasts, and he sort of felt that was almost like an insult, right? Like, I don't want the realm of beasts. So rather than trying to kind of be harmonious with it, he decided to just trample it flat. So all of his incarnation of beast power is in the form of trampling, in the form of kind of harnessing and subjugating nature.
Yeah, so let's look at the another sort of variation that this kit enables you to make, which are the Anointed Sentinels. These are the most devoted towards Hashut of
Scott, thank you for the one gifted.
The Hellsmiths. They guard his holy places, whatever a holy place for the Bull Father Hashut might look like. So they're much more defensive than the other Bull Centaurs, although by no means a passive unit. They're just really great at counter-punching. And when you consider how much of the force might be standing back and raining death on the enemy, very useful in their own right. You also get like a little interesting nod to that Hashutite culture sort of breathed into it through these.
Yeah, I love those.
I love these a lot.
They
These
might
are
be
cool.
my favourite in the range, this particular sculpt.
Simon, thank you for the one gifted.
They key into that sort of classic
15
imagery
to
that we
go,
used to
chat.
from before, as does the next unit. He says, seamlessly segueing in. We'll see. So here's some variations, but we have the Infernal Razors. Now, these have got blunderbusses. And if you are long enough in the beard, you might remember Chaos Dwarf blunderbusses from yesteryear.
The absolute terror of Warhammer Fantasy 6th edition, I think.
Yeah, it was diabolical. And these are a very dangerous shooting unit in their own right. Again, they're harnessing that sort of demonic power to operate their weapons. There's no gunpowder necessary here. And the kit makes two options. So you have those and you have the flame hurlers.
I think I prefer the blunderbusses.
I mean, they hurl flames. There's not much more explanation particularly
Blunderbusses
required.
look really cool.
Yeah,
These
two
don't
really
look bad,
powerful
though.
units. The blunderbusses, there's not much to choose between them, really. They both do a great job. The blunderbusses have got a little bit more range on them. The flame hurlers can fire while you're in combat, which is really handy. So even if the enemy manages to reach you, you can still sort of set them on
Emma,
fire.
welcome to the
But
channel.
thing that
Thank you so
really
much for
makes
joining
them
us.
is that through the army rule
Exclamation mark
mechanic,
Discord.
you can power them up and power up the demonic energy inside their guns, which
Get yourself a
basically
Discord
increases
server,
the
you
rend
wonderful
on the
human.
guns. You can get these things up to rend 3, doing multiple damage, which is absolutely horrific. So if the enemy is like charging your big
Rend
unit of
3?
Infernal Razors, and you get like a
Ugh.
decent round of shooting against it, you can wipe out things like heavy cavalry and whole units of armoured infantry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They are very, very good.
Yeah, now everything we've shown you really is quite elite and high value.
Get ready for the other end of the spectrum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what if you want some chaff to hurl under the the wheels of the enemy, so to speak? Good news. There is a genial relationship between the Hellsmiths of Hashut and the Hobgrots, who sort of bolster their ranks. Hobgrots are also really into doing awful things and desecrating the world, and so they exist as almost
They're
like a
really
vassal
cool little
state
models, actually. I
within,
quite like those.
The Zardron culture. In exchange for better weapons than they could like forage for themselves, they get to join the army and whack stuff. they fill a really interesting niche in that they are faster than the Hellsmiths and they can scout, right?
They absolutely can. So the way these guys are going to fit into your army, most of your force is going to be very good at shooting, but relatively slow. So you're going to be moving on to the objectives late game, but these can scout, as you say, so you can kind of push them forward early in the game, grab those objectives, just get under the feet of enemy units. They will absolutely be used for things like trying to take a charge from something so you can set all your other units up for an amazing round of shooting, or to charge them with bull centaurs or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you will absolutely want some
Emma,
of these
bless you. Thank
in
you for
your
gifting one
force.
as well. And Springy, thank
We've
you for
obviously
5
seen
gifted memberships.
Hogwarts before,
Heroes.
in the kind of Cruel Boys force, but these are armoured and equipped by the
You've
Hellsmiths
just
themselves.
gifted
So they've got
someone a
slightly
membership
better
higher
armour
than you
maybe
became
than-
yourself.
None of that sort of eldritch power in the weapons, though, not for these guys.
Oh no, they don't
Generous
play with
soul.
any of the cool demon stuff.
So let's look at some of the extra sort of heroes that join
He's
the
fucking
faction.
cool, by
These
the
are
way.
This is the Demon Smith. They are the ones who do the hellsmithing, I suppose it's fair to say. You can see in this model there's some real sort of hints as to who he is. Obviously a wizard. He's got that demonic power sort of coming out of his hand. He's got his tome. Looks
Thanks,
like it's
Skippy, thank you for the one
etched in,
gifted.
I don't know what
Like
stone that is.
Obsidian Jade. or
Yeah,
something like that,
exactly.
isn't it?
With like vile runes.
100%
I think
kit bash
his lectern is animated.
power for Lisa
In
Votann,
a
I reckon, here as well.
they
How
are-
good is that paint scheme, though?
It's
Whoever painted that in the heavy metal team, well done.
Yeah,
Well done,
it's,
guys.
It's just stunning.
If you just cock out your
they
mouth.
fill a particular function because they're the ones that enable all of the sort of the hellsmithing. to
Yeah,
take
they
place.
allow the kind of army to work. In game terms, they do a particularly useful thing, as well as being a wizard, which is obviously great. They can heal your war machines as well. So if you've got any of those big infernal engines, or you've got any of your cannons that have been damaged, they can kind of go over and put the power
I'm a
back into
hero.
them, sort of thing.
Yes, you are.
This kit has another option in it. It also makes an Ashen Elder. We showed you the anointed centaurs, who
I like
are the
him.
ones who guard the holy sites. This is the person doing the rituals inside the holy sites.
This is a fucking
and you can
great
see
model
that
range,
petrification
Jack.
has started to happen to his skin. The older a Hellsmith gets, the more they start to become like stone. Their skin cracks. If they're very powerful, if they have the right magics available,
All
Hold
games
it at
filled
bay
with
a
does some
little
40k
bit,
already.
yeah,
absolutely.
maybe.
But
And some old
doom
worlds.
is upon them. There's a couple of really interesting things. I like his staff. I'm just going to eulogise about how beautiful it is that the smoke makes it look like a beard. But you had a fascinating fact about the hammer.
Yeah, so there's lots of things that are really fun about this miniature, but if we go to the hammer particularly, there's not a lot of hammers in the Hellsmiths of Hashut, and one of the reasons is that hammers are actually seen as a slightly profane symbol to the Hellsmiths because they remind them of the other dwarven ancestor gods, which really like hammers. But this particular hammer is blessed in the blood of other Duardin priests, so he would have like found a runesmith or something, or one of the Caradron priests or something,
Yeah.
and then slain them in a sacrifice and blessed the hammer in
I
that
like
blood.
these dudes quite a
So
lot.
that's,
And I've always
that's
wanted an
why
excuse to
he's
collect
the one
some
with the
kind of
hammer when
dwarven
the
army.
So
Hellsmiths
if you're
have
a
them.
Fire Slayer player, a Caradron Overlord
Oh, they hate
player,
this guy,
like
yeah.
pick on this guy the
Oh,
most, right?
the Caradrons and the Fire Slayers really do not get on with the Hellsmiths. Like there is a lot. They've got beef, basically.
Yeah, absolutely so. There's also another character we should talk about. This is Urak
look
Tar.
at that.
He's the first demon smith. Back in that ancient time when the Hellsmiths needed to learn to survive, he learned the secrets of this demon smithing from Hashut. He is truly ancient and abominably powerful. You can see how that manifests his the petrification on the back, like deep trenches of like rock starting to form out of his flesh, horns erupting from his skull. He's mounted on an enormous infernal, my brain's just gone blank, infernal Taurus. Just centerpiece written all over him. Incredible spot within the lore. Wonderful.
Yeah,
Love it.
very, very
Love
cool
that,
miniature.
dude.
It's a 2-for-1 kit as well, which is really cool. It also makes your Demon Smith on Infernal Taurus.
Oh my
There's a bunch of
God.
options on this kit as well, which is amazing. So I can't wait to see what painters do with this kit particularly, because
Yeah,
it is
absolutely.
just asking for a beautiful color scheme. You can imagine this in like beautiful non-metallics or metallics or glowing runes or
the glowing-
kind of petrified rock or something else. But again, that kind of manifestation of Hashut
Yeah, that's
as,
sick.
never deciding to
I'm a
use
big fan of that.
the natural materials.
That's
Right? It's always
sick.
going to be industrial in some way, or made out of iron or metal or stone or
Yeah,
something like
and
that.
the only wood on the base is like burned.
Burnt
through
to
it.
I want
cinder,
those
yeah.
dudes.
You can imagine him walking through a forest of just like that.
Yeah, should we take a look at some of the models in the flesh? We've got them here in the room with us, and
Yeah.
we can give you
I've
some
got-
sort
I've
of
got
a sense
ourselves
of
a
their
little
forms.
lineup
Yeah, look
from-
at this.
yeah, look at that.
It's looking good. Here is my personal favourite. You have the War Despot. You can see he's a very chunky looking Duard, and if I stick this Infernal Razor next to him, you get a sense of, sorry, I'm just making your life harder with the camera there, perfect. You can see like bigger in stature, more powerful. Moving along, you have the Demon Smith and the Ashen Elder. Teeny tiny little Hobgrot on the end of the line. Really quite sort of scrawny.
I don't want any Hobgrots, though. I want all just Chaos Dwarfs.
Will and getting
The
through your
same,
day work.
just for kind of scale purposes, that's the same size, more or less, as the Hobgrots that currently exist in the Cruel Boys range, so you get an idea of the size.
I really like them, chat.
Much larger. We have the Bull Centaur there, so you can see that the power of Hashut sort of coursing through that guy. This is a fairly large cavalry miniature there. It's like on a scale with some of the kind of, I guess, like Agrodon sort of size, that kind of...
Yeah, he's big to say the least. But not as big as, terrible segue, here we go. Just
even beefier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
this is such a cool model. I think you can have a few of these in your army as well. There's a few different options for kind of heads and things. So I certainly expect to see a few of these making their way into the army.
let's bring in at least one of the artillery.
Yeah,
pieces
let's get one of those in.
and
Right,
then we'll
so
get to the main event. So if I
do?
squeeze some of these guys
We're running out
out
of
the way.
space. There's too much stuff in this release. It doesn't all fit on the table.
I don't think anybody will be
Lol.
complaining.
Poor old Emperor's children.
There we go. So you can see the two war machines.
Again, these have got like really lovely little dioramas on the back. So you've got multiple characters sort of with different roles across the artillery piece, like
Yeah, absolutely.
funneling the demonic power into the engine or stoking the furnace and that sort of thing. A little bit like the Leagues of Votann artillery we saw before. These are just like wonderful little pieces in their own right.
Yeah. But let's bring in Uraktar, shall we?
Yeah, he's the big guy. Here he is.
Round this all out.
So, I mean, this is it's a fairly big model.
Towers above even the Dominator engine.
There we go.
Yeah, I like him a lot. He's a chunky boy.
Just exceptional. There'll be loads.
Have you
more
noticed
pictures
as
of
well,
this
by the
on
way?
WarhammerCommunity.com.
Have you noticed that he can't let Eddie put something down without having to fucking touch it himself?
And you can see it all in more detail. There's probably some bits and pieces of information that we left out. We need to move on.
Yeah, we need to get
Right.
That's very cool. Very
Before
cool.
I do, one more thing. I'm aware that lots of people in the chat might be keen to know about Warcry and whether or not Warcry is relevant here. The Warhammer Studio team are going to publish rules for using Hellsmiths of Hashut for Warcry when they release.
Yeah.
So keep your eyes peeled on the Warhammer community website. There'll be a free download that lets you try out some of the Hellsmith models in Warcry in your games.
Yeah, so not only will there be a full new army for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, they will also feature as an entire new faction in Warcry as well.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
also,
Yes, it would be nice if we segued seamlessly into the Warhammer Underworlds. So welcome to Spikewood. This is an expansion for Warhammer Underworlds. It's
people play Underworlds?
The scene is essentially you're in the Spikewood. You have a Hellsmiths of Hashut warband fighting against the Kenothi. So it really is industry versus nature.
yeah, there's a strong rivalry in the Mortal Realms between the Hellsmiths, who are all about, like, as we say, trampling nature underfoot, and the Sylvaneth, who are all about protecting nature, and the Kenothi are a particularly kind of warlike aspect of that, following the kind of absent hunter god Kurnoth. So they will defend the wild places of the Mortal Realms.
Yeah, so here you can see the two warbands. So this is
I mean,
an
the models are
expansion,
sick.
as
Does
we
anyone
say,
actually play the game?
For Emberguard. And you have the Hellsmiths, you have the Kenothi. The Blood of the Bull is the Hellsmiths unit. Bottom left-hand corner, you have a War Despot. Her army advancing into the Spikewood has suffered a strategic reversal, so she's regrouped with her sort of remaining warriors, her inner circle, and she's waiting on reinforcements before she can raise the place to the ground. So she finds herself contesting it, obviously, against the other warband.
Yeah, and you've got some great archetypes in the mix there as well. I particularly like the Hobgrot.
He deserves a call out, doesn't he?
He does, because if you've been playing Warhammer for a very long time, you may remember Hobgoblins from Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and there was a unit called Throat Cutters, I think it was, or Throat Slitters. He is basically a homage to those.
It's really lovely.
Which is really lovely to see.
Yeah, they've got their rules reflect that sort of plunder, take what you want, decimate the landscape just for the joy of it sort of mentality. The other warband in this set is, he says, well, there we go, the Kurnoth,
They're sexy.
Herald. There's three of them in the kit. They make these Kenothi. The thing to point out with them in terms of like their rules and how they play is that they're very defensive. because they're holding what they've got. They're not interested in
The
stealing
sexy
other
on board now.
This is a
Mortal Realms, the birth of things to do with the Mortal Realms. So if you enjoy Warhammer Age of Sigmar, you're in for a good time.
Yeah, it's taken the Hellsmiths a long time to get here, hasn't it?
Yeah, it
but
was
then they
worth the
are
wait.
only movement 4. So
Raph has respectably reminded us that there is in fact 5 more things to
oh,
talk
there's
about.
more.
Okay, sexy
All
models,
4
yeah,
war-
cool models.
Because I'm allowed to. The Gits and Goliath.
More cool
Mortal Realms.
models,
Same with
don't
them,
care.
whether you fancy playing to
No one
being
knows about Underworlds.
We are now at the end.
Yeah, there's loads. People are very, very excited to hear about the Hellsmiths joining Warcry. That'd be really cool. as well.
Fantastic. We're really pleased because we want them to be able to play with them and enjoy them.
Yeah, and of course the range is stunning, so people are super pumped about that. There's a bit of confusion about the Grand Alliance that they come from. So presumably they come from the Chaos Grand Alliance, and if so, how do they fit in with the rest of the Chaos?
Yeah, so I can take that one. So the Hellsmiths of Hashut have a slightly interesting relationship with several factions in the Mortal Realms. They are definitely in the Chaos Grand Alliance. So despite what they themselves believe, they probably are corrupted by Chaos at least a little bit.
You don't get to play with that much demon power.
know,
and
I mean,
not
you have tusks growing out of your face and horns growing out,
and you're turning to stone.
yeah, I mean, something's gone a little bit demonic there. But they would consider themselves as kind of champions of order, but they are in the Chaos Grand Alliance. They also trade with the various forces of Chaos, so perhaps Chaos warlords and things would go to their ziggurats and be served with like weapons that they forged in exchange for bounty that is collected across the realms. They also have a kind of symbiotic relationship with the Hobgrots and have traded with like the Cruel Boys and things like that. But they are Chaos Grand Alliance.
Nice. So how does Hashut fit in with the Chaos Pantheon? Does it want
Really,
to become one?
really badly.
Yeah, it does not play well with others as a recurring theme, really.
So he is part of the pantheon of the Dwarven gods, right? But he feels ostracized. They understandably want to ostracize him. So the Hellsmiths kind of vilely resent the other Dwarven gods. It's a very fractious relationship, which is why there's such vitriol between them. Great questions. Thank you very much.
Really?
We need to go to our next setting, which we will do by moving to the timeline of the Horus Heresy.
Let's do it.
So there are a
Imperialis. I don't
multitude
want
of great
Imperialis.
releases coming if you play Legions Imperialis. It's all make some really. It's blow them out. Rhino shotgun. You can.
I want a bigger kit.
Be dangerous than up and make
Of a flame.
your
It's a which one you've possibly done.
heavy is the battlefield array. And we've seen small, like loads and loads of Legions Imperials, but a bunch of other articles that's like the left with I each unit is setting
More convenient way of.
It's most sense they've made all day.
Together, I answered these. I think we showed one before.
We
Didn't
did, yeah. I absolutely.
We teased these in the Saturnine preview, but we have the Mark II Assault Squad. So I think we showed one before.
Oh, they're really
We
cool.
did, yeah, I absolutely love these. So this is the new Mark II Assault Marines. Mark II is kind of one of the more brutal looking of the various different Space Marine armor marks, and these guys have ramped that up even further. You've got some options in this kit for a variety of different weapon options.
Yeah, they're sick.
The
I like those a
coolest
lot.
of them is the Chain Axe, which is an optional free upgrade to the chainsword that comes normally with your Assault Marines.
Yeah, and so the kit's loaded with chain axes. It even has heavy chain axes for extra clout. Think of them as slightly slower than chain axes, but they have a more
Chainswords,
dangerous.
yeah.
Sorry, chainswords, but they have a more dangerous effect. Absolutely. There are points-free alternative. So if you buy these, it's just a straight points, no points involved, just a straight kit swap. If you're dying to have that classic chainsword loadout, then there's some good news because you can swap the arms with the ones that are on the Mark VI Assault Marines, or you can just get them from the upgrade kit. But I think compliance has never looked better than it does with a chain axe.
There's some great different options in there as well. You've got a couple of heavy chain axes too,
Yep.
which is another upgrade you can put onto some of the models. The Sergeant's got the option for some pistols and close combat weapons. And as you can see with the Salamander on the screen there as well, you can also equip them with combat shields. So loads of different things you can choose
They are
to mix
really
them in with.
nice.
I would imagine we're also going to see some of these converted with all the different Space Marine kits. One of the lovely things about the Horus Heresy is that so many of the kits are really interchangeable with each other, so you can take bits and heads and arms and weapons and stuff and really
They are
create it.
really
love them.
nice.
Breastplate on these, that high gorget looks fantastic. They're just fantastic looking models. Well done them. There's more coming as well. We previewed the Journal Tactical, which is available to order right now. In fact, all of Saturnine is available to order right now. There's a new Journal Tactical on the horizon. It's called the Forges of Saturn, and this is really all about Vulcan's gift to his brothers through the Saturnine project, and so it focuses very heavily on all of those suits of armor. that we've seen in the Saturnine box.
Yeah, there's loads of great new options in this book.
I agree with you about Epic,
particularly
by the way.
allowing you to do more stuff with your Saturnine miniatures. So there are different, basically,
That
things that you can
banner's
do to your
getting
Saturnine
snapped.
miniatures using other kits, mixing kits together to create new units. So this is a really great example. This is a Saturnine command squad. And what you've got here is a unit that's taken bits from the command squad sprues and also some spare bits from someone who's built a Saturnine Praetor with his axe. You get the hammer spare. You can now give it to characters in your Saturnine command squad and basically make them into a champion. The other option that you can have inside this is to make one of your Saturnine Terminators into a Saturnine Centurion. That's the Thousand Suns guy on the far left there. Saturnine Centurion means that you could now have like 2 tiers of Saturnine Commander you can have in your army, and effectively unlocks the ability to have an entire Saturnine styled army if you wanted to.
Yeah, one of the topics that's
Say less.
handled inside this Journal Tactica is the way the Legions embraced Saturnine armour. Obviously, to use it at all requires you to be at least to some extent psychically sensitive. That really plays into the hand of the Thousand Suns.
Thousand Suns love it. It's their favourite.
But there's all sorts of things. It's not just the Thousand Suns that sort of get the rub in this. So there'll be lots to enjoy, and we'll tell you more about it as we get closer.
Yeah, there's some really interesting stuff about how the different legions have sort of embraced it. So the Thousand Suns have sort of used it as intended to some extent and kind of put all of their psychic pilots inside them. The word bearers immediately crammed it full of demons just to see what would happen. But all of the legions, to some extent, have recognised the lethality of Saturnine technology and find a place for it in their legions.
Perfect. Right. We're still not quite done in this sort of area of the timeline. I am super excited to be able to announce today on behalf of the Black Library that there is a new mega series.
Ooh, the
on
Scouring.
way. This is the Scouring. This is book 1 called Ashes of the Imperium, and this kicks off a multi-book, multi-author mega series set in the ashes of the Imperium. It's a perfect title. The Horus Heresy is ended. The Emperor is mortally wounded, enshrined upon the Golden Throne. The War Master is dead. The forces of the traitor legions are in full retreat.
No, not my War Master.
What happens next? So this series begins essentially at that premise. And here we have a very understandable confrontation between a battered and damaged Rogel Dawn and Rabute Gilliman, who has arrived pristine with reinforcements. And as you can see, they're at loggerheads already.
Just saying.
Black Library are super excited for us to be announcing this today, because this is the culmination of a lot of work and effort between a really sort of carefully assembled cabal of writers and creatives that have been plotting out a multi-book series, which we're going to see play out over several years. I'm really, really excited by this.
I think you were saying to me earlier on that there's kind of like 3 core themes, aren't there, that's being explored through this.
So in a nutshell, and without spoiling anything for those of you who want to enjoy it, I promise you spoiler free, there are 3 principal themes. Theme number 1 is what happens with the legions Astartes, right? They've essentially caused all of this, or their brothers have. They've ruined the work of the Great Crusade. The Imperium is in tatters. What is the place for the Space Marine legions in the wake of this catastrophe? For the traitor legions, the second of these sort of perspectives, the War Master is dead. Their whole purpose for doing this has now failed. The Chaos Gods withdraw some of their power. So suddenly they thought they were onto a good thing, and now they're relatively alone and at sea. How do they survive? How do they regroup? The third group is, in my opinion, maybe the most compelling, which is what of humanity, right? They've just watched these demigods wage war across the Imperium, ruin everything, destroy the Emperor's great works. The Emperor is mortally wounded. How do they respond? How does humanity rally, and how does it perceive the place of the Space Marine legions that remain?
Absolutely. And I think worth saying as well, this is absolutely, you can treat this as a self-contained series.
Oh, yeah.
If you have read all of the Horus Heresy from Horus Rising all the way through the full novel series and then gone through the Siege of Terror, first of all, very well done. There's a lot of books to read, some great stories in there. But if you are new to the Horus Heresy and kind of the setting and the era, you can absolutely just jump in with Ashes of the Imperium and treat the Scouring as a series in its own right.
Yeah, I have to give a little bit of a shout out to Chris Wright as well, who is the author chosen for this first book. He is a true gangster of words. He's written some of the really fantastic Black Library novels.
Fuck off, Adam.
If you've never read a Chris Wright book and you just want to dip your toes in ahead of trying this, I could not recommend enough of Valdor, Birth of the Imperium. It sort of sits outside the rest of the sort of Horus Heresy experience a little bit. And it's like top tier Black Library fiction, and might be a fun way to sort of whet your appetite for more Chris Rate. As we approach the release of this, we're going to have a full length interview with Chris talking about Ashes of the Imperium and all of the care and consideration that's gone into it and the narrative that unfolds. More on that on Warhammer Community as we have it.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I think
That was awesome. Cool. I really am super excited for it. We're not done yet.
We're not even close.
We promised that we would return to the grim darkness of the Dark Millennium, and we do now with 5 new Space Marine heroes for 5 of the first founding chapters.
Right, this is Vulcan Heston. So this is a model returning that has previously been in metal and resin and is now in
Joe's
plastic.
going to have
Vulcan
orgasmed
Heston
everywhere.
Is a famed hero of the Salamanders chapter, and his particular mission is to scour the galaxy looking for the relics left by his Primarch, the namesake Vulcan. He wears some of those relics himself.
Sick.
So he is equipped with an artificial suit of armor. He is carrying a handheld heavy flamer and a blade of Vulcan that crackles with
a handheld heavy flamer, which means he can't hold anything in his hands.
He's able to slice through enemy warriors. He's also walking through flames, just in case you weren't sure he was as cool as he can be. He's just walking through the fire there as well. He is probably the most iconic Salamanders character that exists in Warhammer 40,000, and it's great to see him in plastic. He
can't use his hand because of where his heavy flamer is, but
unhelmeted.
Health and safety first.
Both of them look very, very cool indeed. He is only one of the 5 new Space Marine characters.
Next up, we have a very iconic and well-known hero returning in a new incarnation. Darna Lysander, first captain of the first company, I probably should say, of the Imperial Fists chapter. He's been remade in the
big old tactical rock.
New Terminator armor style that we saw for the first time.
Yeah, the same scale as the ones in the recent Warhammer 40,000.
And he is a substantial man in that armor. He has an enormous storm shield. He's carrying that.
So far, not quite Logan
Might be the
Grimnar.
best storm shield in Warhammer.
What the
it's up there, isn't it?
What's that in the background? What's him?
I called it on Thursday and I squeezed my pants in happiness for the prospect of a Primaris Vulcan Heston. Vulcan hugs, hugging face emoji.
Love you, Mike. Look at this dude. Who's this dude? Is he Sternguard? Is he just Sternguard?
Carrying that incredible looking thunder
might be
hammer.
the best storm shield in Warhammer. It's up there, isn't it?
It's right up
It's
there,
up there.
yeah. I think the Lion might argue with you, but we're talking top
What is he,
3.
Command
right?
Squad? Company of Heroes?
Yeah, everything you'd expect from this iconic hero of the Imperial Fists chapter.
Nice to see a helmeted option in there.
Yeah, absolutely. They're taking the...
If you don't want
is
to paint a face,
fucking
and sometimes
sick. I
you just
like
want to get one on the
That's Company
battlefield.
Heroes. Thanks, chat.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't yellow, I don't know, I might find it easy to paint the flesh, to be honest. He is not the only. There are 5 of them altogether. So next up, we have Canok Var, a new character for the Iron Hands chapter. This is the captain of the...
Why is his melee weapon a
clan.
fucking weird
it's the
sex
equivalent
toy?
to your kind of captain of the first company.
Yeah.
Again, a Terminator in the same scale as the recent new Terminator kits. Some really lovely little features on here, really leaning
he's a
into
bit
the kind
shit.
of Iron Hands lore. You've got lots of nods towards his technological know-how and their kind of alliance with the Adeptus Mechanicus.
Yeah, he's got sort of servo skulls attached by data tethers, sort of conjuring information.
Yeah,
Look at
he's
the one
a
on
bit
the bottom right-hand corner. He looks like he's projecting a fortress.
We're still
of
7 members away,
he's got
chat,
like a
from
little
gold, by the way.
holograph, of
The power dildo,
perhaps
it's
a
exactly what it is, isn't
building
it?
that they're
It's
planning
like a
to
fucking
besiege.
arse
And
paddle.
I think my favourite thing on this model is actually the power maul, which is shaped after a Tetsubo, not a weapon I'm used to seeing, and it just really works on this guy. Sort of straightforward, practical, extremely brutal.
Yeah.
Next up, and I think for many people this will be the sort of
This one's cool, guys.
the model which fires your imagination.
Oh,
The
shit.
Raven Guard
Oh, it's not.
have a new
Shrike.
chapter master.
Absolutely love this guy. So the new chapter master of the Raven Guard. And you might be saying, Eddie, they already have a chapter master. What happened to Shrike? Shrike
dude's
has
incredible.
led the Raven Guard for some years, but has decided that actually his place is better in the shadows as the captain of stealth assaults, and he has left Etheon Shan to lead the Raven Guard as their figurehead and their commander. And the miniature is absolutely
He is
phenomenal. We
fucking
very recently had
stunning.
Logan Grimnar released. I think only this last weekend, and this continues the tradition of having just an absolutely phenomenally cool looking chapter master miniature.
Yeah, he's redolent in sort of the imagery of the Raven Guard chapter that you'd
Yeah,
expect
this
to see.
dude's
There's
sick as fuck.
those sort of tassels that sort of dangle from him with the sort of secret runic script of deliverance. He's got feathers and fetishes.
Look at those
and
claws.
He's got 3 head options. Aethon Shan is a really just tremendous
the hooded head
piece
option.
model, and I think the Raven Guard fans out there are going to be delighted.
That model is
by,
fucking
what he
beautiful.
presents.
That is painting
and there's one
competition
more.
material, right?
Southampton Khan, he is the first captain of the White Scars
They
chapter.
finally put a White
So
Scars
he leads
character
its
on a
first
fucking
company,
bike.
on this just mighty looking grav bike. It's got a Gatling cannon mounted into the front. He's just the perfect embodiment of that White Scars hero huntsman archetype.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. There's all sorts of beautiful Chigorian details
Yeah,
on him
he's
there.
fucking
you can see the kind of
sick.
pattern on the front of the jet bike is very reminiscent of some of their Heresy era designs on their dreadnoughts and things like that. We've got the model with us in a second. We're going to have a kind of look at it, but there's some beautiful detail on the back. He's got kind of Chigorian shields
Don't
and
tell the
sheaths
Heresy
and,
players.
decapitated enemy heads and stuff like that. It is just the most White Scars looking thing you've ever seen. It fits beautifully in an army. You've got lots of outriders and fast-moving stuff.
I want that.
It's been quite a long
That
wait
is
for the White
fucking
Scars to have
beautiful.
a character on a bike,
The
and
characters
it's
have
well worth
traditionally
it.
had to walk, haven't they? So not anymore. Really beautiful. How do I get my hands on these? You say there's some questions to answer there. There's a series of combat patrols coming out. Listen carefully, and I'll explain the one piece of nuance to this. Southampton Khan is in the White Scars combat patrol. You see it here. It's 3 Outrider bikes, an Intercessor Assault Squad, a transport, and Southampton Khan. He will be available separately not that long after the release of this combat patrol. He's the only one of these new heroes that comes inside a combat patrol. The others
We want to sell as many combat patrols as we can first.
available separately, but here are the combat patrols that come out with them. So you have an Imperial Fist combat patrol, just full of heavily armoured Imperial
That's
Fist
cool.
troops. You've got Terminators and a command group, and
like
it just
that.
looks wonderful. Next up, Iron Hands, Heavy Intercessors, heavy
Not
weapons,
selling many turrets,
everything
Games
you might
Workshop.
expect from these tough, durable warriors of the Iron
Poor old Iron
chapter.
Hands are getting shat
The
on.
Raven Guard, a bit more
Fast and Phobos.
yeah, fast. That's good. I like that. That was strong. Yeah, they're going to get in amongst it much faster.
Yeah, I
Imagine
agree,
Nathan
Kai.
Shan leading those. It would be
100%.
tremendous. But what if you just want to carry all the flames all the time?
Yeah.
Every model in this entire combat patrol has something that makes you hotter.
Either a melter gun or a flamethrower
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or form.
I think there's
How do they work that one? Every single model in this combat patrol has something that'll make you hotter. But there's 5 assault intercessors in the middle.
I think there's some assault intercessors who maybe ruin my attempt to.
Oh, there we go. Good.
But do you know
He
what?
picked it up.
That is a lot of flamer and or melter, and I think you can excuse us. for being
Some new
like that.
transfers in those kits as well. Adam, I know you were a very big fan of that when we were looking.
Iron Hands
hit on
fans, I'm
my,
sorry,
like,
you've been
secret
shat on.
nerd part of Warhammer. I get really excited by transfer sheets. I can't do freehand to save my life, but I can stick a decal on with the best of them. Each of these will come with its own transfer sheet, which means that you can apply all the details of the heraldry and everything. And there's loads of cool extras on those. Case in point, the Imperial Fist one has some decals that do Crimson Fists. So if you were a fan of the Crimson
Okay.
Fists successors, then you can fill your boots. We'll show you those ahead of time so you can sort of plan your purchases and your painting experiences as we get closer to these.
Yeah,
Shall we have a look at the models?
Yeah, I've got some of the miniatures right here. We've got some kind of classics.
Iron Hands are traitors, they deserve the hate.
Thank you, Mandy, for the $5. Also, thank you so much, Craig, for 10 gifted memberships. We're on 103 people. Thank you so much.
Stuff so you can see the scale of them. And we've also got
Do you know
some
what?
of the new miniatures. So
Do you know what, right? That Raven Guard is incredible and maybe as good as Logan, but I actually think I prefer the White Scar jet bike over the Raven Guard character. I think I prefer the bike. I think I do. Tell me, chat, what's your favourite?
Off over here with
Oh,
the
there we go.
Raven Guard side. I brought along a
Regular
assault intercessor sergeant. It's not a small model by any stretch of the imagination, but you sort of get a sense of how big the new chapter master of the Raven Guard is there. He's on a big base. He's going to be quite an intimidating character. He's certainly going to be the largest of your infantry models, probably standing not far off the height of a Redemptor Dreadnought at the top of his base there.
Yeah, what's interesting is you may have a tactical rock to sort of raise him up a little, but Darneth Lysander is such a brute that he's not that much shorter than either of the two models you just mentioned. He really is very dominating. And then Southampton Khan next to an Outrider. First of all, check out the sort of similarities between the stylings, the sort of the shape of the bike, very sort of reminiscent of the things that you see on the Outrider. But if you spin it around, check out some of
There
the
are
details
so
on the
many
back.
lovely details on this.
it's got
I
better.
really like the shield. There's some sheaths. There's some extra weapons. There's like, as well as having loads of lovely detail, there's also loads of space if you want to do some like Chigorian freehand or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's going to be up there with the Golden Demons and things.
Yeah,
people
he's
choose
fucking
their
gorgeous.
boxes.
Exciting to see what
It's
people
really
do
nice.
with it.
I want him.
There we are. Space Marine characters.
Surely that's all the Space Marine we have time for.
That's like the best part of the whole reveal. I don't know. Chaos Dwarfs are cool.
So you say that, but there is a little bit more Space Marine on the way. This one's really exciting for me because I got to help a little bit on the team that have brought this to life. I am over the moon to present the first ever officially licensed wearable Space Marine helmet. This is the Lieutenant Titus Mark 10 helmet made by JoyToy. If you've not heard of JoyToy, where have you been hiding? JoyToy make beautiful action figures under license from Games Workshop. They do Warhammer 40,000 ones, and they do Warhammer Age of Sigmar ones, and they do Warhammer the Horus Heresy ones, and now they have made this incredible helmet. It's just really something.
Elaborate tactical rock.
And I can talk about some of its features. Inside, it's got an adjustable sort of headband, so you can change it to fit your head. What that means is that unless you've got the tiniest of heads, like a small child or a grot, you should be able to make it fit. I have the most preposterous, like, potato head imaginable.
I think I'm going to say what everyone is thinking, which is just put it on. Adam.
Yeah,
Just
I
see what it
will.
looks like.
But before I do, so this is the prototype that we've been sort of working with them on. And before I do, I'm going to flip a switch because we're under very bright studio lights. But inside, can you see the illuminated? A little bit. There's some really great pictures that you'll be able to see later. But I feel like a Space Marine already. This is just
I feel like I'm
the
standing
best.
next to a Space Marine. It's incredible.
I mean, it's never felt so good to feel like Lieutenant Titus. So the lenses inside illuminate. You can buy it with this lovely display stand as well. This is the Mark 10 helmet stand. It looks like something straight out of a battle barge or
I mean, this is
Fortress
a cool
Monastery
collector's
cell
item,
where
I
a Space
guess.
Marine might put his war gear when he's finished on campaign. It's your choice whether you want to get the helmet separately or with that, but I've had this in my office for quite a while and it looks really cool. When can you get your hands on it, I guess is the question.
When can I get my hands on it, Adam?
I'm glad you asked. The answer is when this preview show is done, the pre-orders begin. So you will be able to go to warhammermerch.com.
How much are they, chat? Do we know?
And pre-order it. So yeah, I'm just over the moon to see this in the flesh, in real world. Very, very exciting. We're still not done with Warhammer 40,000.
I can't decide.
We need to go to Kill Team, to
140
the
quid.
Kill Team.
Is that good or bad? Necrons. He's cool. A Geomancer. I like him. Wait. So they basically try and get rid of Deathwatch from the game, and they drop this. Definitely going to be bought by 40k players,
So,
right?
an
cool.
amazing new box for Kill Team, a new expansion, 2 brand new kill teams, a new kill zone, some incredible miniatures. Let's take a look. This is Kill Team Tomb World, and you get absolutely loads in this box.
It's just bursting with cool
This
stuff, right?
might be the best Kill Team box we've released.
It's a bold
way up
claim,
there.
and I
isn't it?
struggle
It's
to
up there.
argue.
It's up there. There's some beautiful stuff in here. I mean, if we talk about the battlefield first, you've got some absolutely amazing Necron scenery, in a little bit like the Into the Dark scenery we saw
Yeah, absolutely.
a little while back, and certainly allows you to play games in that same sort of style. Doesn't replace it necessarily, but allows you to play that kind of close confines, up-close battles. Really thematic. You've got the kind of undead Necron crypts as the warriors wake from their eons-long slumber. But the kill teams themselves are probably where the real excitement is. So if we start off with the Deathwatch kill team, this is the return of the original kill team. The name kill team itself comes from the concept of Deathwatch, and they have come out with an amazing
quite a cool
new
set of
range
Space Marines,
miniatures.
to be fair.
There are 10 of these guys in the box.
I don't hate
you can
them.
build them in
I
a whole
don't love
range
them,
of
but I don't
different
hate
ways,
them.
and there are some lovely features. Adam, have you got any favourites from
I
the
mean, for me, I'm all about the big firepower, right? So, sort of bottom right, you have a Flesh Terrier holding a frag cannon, because that's the best way to greet the Xenos, right? Yeah, you can't really go wrong. I called him out as a Flesh Terrier because I happen to know he is. One of the things that's really striking about this set is that there's loads of different heraldic devices
Yeah,
available.
some quite obscure chapters as well.
Yeah, I mean, so flesh terrors are perhaps not obscure, but they're not necessarily what you might expect. For example, top centre, that's a member of the Wolf Spears, which is one of the few successors to the Space Wolves chapter. You've got an Ultramarine on the right hand
him,
side.
he's cool.
The crossed swords on the one bottom left, I think is probably making him a Guardian of the Covenant.
I think you might be right. You might be right.
And as a Dark Angels collector, that's quite exciting.
We had a fun game earlier on where we tried to guess all the different chapters.
Yeah.
A Red Scorpion in there as well. You can't quite make him out, but
There's 5 more that you can see here.
Okay,
So
double flash terror.
if you see any that are a chapter that you're interested in, shout them out in the chat. I think the top middle guy is going to get some attention because there's a lot of fans for those guys. Loads of options, loads of different specializations for your kill team to be built with.
They're all right.
They
They're
really
not.
are the personification of.
I mean,
pick the right
they should have
weapon
put these
for
out
job
before the
when you start your
characters.
And when you play kill team, the way that this, any kill team works is that you have a roster of different warriors, and then you can choose the ones you want before
should
your
put
game
these out
starts.
before the
You
characters,
get
'cause
10
this
models
isn't a
in this
good
box to make your
follow-up
kill
from those
team. You've got
characters.
loads of different options, and then you choose before each game. Your kill team in game will be 5 of those warriors, and you can pick any 5 you want.
I mean, check it out with the underslung grenade launcher and all of the grenades just in the harness.
It's great to see a mix of Gravis and Phobos and Tacticus
absolutely.
as well. So that's a Gravis, effectively a heavy intercessor archetype, but he's even more upgunned than you might expect a normal heavy intercessor to be, which have already got quite big guns. In game terms,
Yeah,
the
I'm
Death
not
Watch have
bothered
got
about
all
these.
sorts of specialist Xenos killing kit, but one of their things is effectively in each turning point you can choose one of them to use a special piece of ammunition,
Characters
and you
surrender
can
the show,
basically
100%.
pick a special rule
100%
for that
down.
gun to have, so you
Characters
can
surrender
be
the show.
blast or precision or
This has been one of the
extra
worst
AP or
produced
something like
shows
that.
they've ever done.
So that a kind of quite long-standing concept of them having the ammunition to do exactly the job you need them to do. In
terms of actual releases, not bad.
As well as they're just being pretty good all-round
Actual
space
production,
marines, right?
pretty
Yeah,
shit.
absolutely. But they're not the only thing in the kit, although you might excuse our enthusiasm for thinking
He
so.
or she.
There's also the Canoptic Circle.
Fucking
These
cool.
are the Necron guardians of this tomb complex. Essentially, their job
One
has
random
been
warrior, though,
to
seems a bit
oversee
odd.
the reanimation protocols of all of the Necrons that you see in these alcoves. We'll show you some more of the terrain in a bit. And so these are the sentinels that are ready to now
The
sort of attack the
Geomancer is
interlopers.
And they were
fucking
just going about their
sexy.
business, waking
That's
up
the
all
best
the
model in
Necrons,
the
and all of a
box.
sudden this very rude kill team of Deathwatch burst into their crypt and decided to start wrecking up the place. So they've had to mobilise.
thought they just
against
drag
them.
on for me a little
It
bit.
is a very
I've skipped
powerful
a couple
kill
bits
team.
as well.
This is the Canoptech Circle. It is led by a Geomancer, which is a type of Cryptech. That's the model you can see there. She is the leader of the warband, and she definitely kind of is the core of the force, right? So
And she's big and powerful.
she's
right?
big and powerful. Yeah, she alone can take on a Space Marine, but the other troops in her force need her to kind of be at the centre to kind of coordinate the efforts. You've got a few different other models in the mix there as well. As the Geomancer, you have. Remind me of the names of these.
The larger thing on the left-hand side with the big guns on the top is the Tomb Crawler.
Yep.
Then sort of the right hand, and there's another one sort of central to the right-hand side. Then the smaller things, they are your reanimators or your warriors. So normally.
Hope the Geomancer gets good 40k rules because I'm having that model regardless. Pure scuttling sex on many legs.
Facts.
Day to day, they'd just be pooling around, making sure everything's safe and well. They'd be reanimating some Necrons, but when the Death Watch come knocking, they leap into action.
Yeah, the crawlers have got some particularly formidable weaponry, right? So like they're up against the Death Watch kill team. So the guns on those can take out a Space Marine if they get a good solid round of firepower. They are
absolutely.
one of the. You've got your kind of central character, which does all the kind of utility stuff. Then you've got 2 really good solid gun platforms, and then you've got the rest of the force, which whizzes around and does the objective taking stuff. So it's a really flexible little kill team. Also worth pointing out that the box has a bunch of Necron warriors.
Yep.
Why does it have a bunch of Necron warriors, you might ask? They're not in the kill team. Well, one of the other things that you get inside this box is rules for playing basically co-op missions where you both play as Deathwatch and you're up against hordes, undying hordes of Necron warriors. As they
Joint
that's
operations
cool.
is super fun, and
I like that.
the chance to do this as a Deathwatch kill team, sort of stalking around a Necron, awakening Necron tomb complex is
That's a cool
almost
concept.
too
I'll give them
appealing
credit
to
where
say
credit's
the
due.
and
least.
just a great other way
I'm
of
a fan
playing
of
the
that.
game.
I'm going to totally jump on it. Have a look around this board, and you can see in some of those alcoves there are those reanimating Necrons and stuff.
And there's like weird portals and
it's
glyphs
just
and all sorts of stuff.
Emma, you
really
legend. Thank you for one more
imagery. There's
gifted.
fallen masonry you can imagine they've been asleep for so long that, you know, seismic events, whatever, of course, needs to fall down, plus and or maybe the wolf spear hitting everything with his hammer. Yeah, this is going to be just peak Warhammer adventures in a tomb complex. I love it.
And of course, both of these kill teams will be usable in Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
There'll be a way to use your Death Watch in that game as well, and your new Necrons. And of course, there is a new book, a new dossier that comes with this, which has all the rules you need to play these in your games of kill teams.
Yeah, let's have a look at some of them in the flesh. Oh, it comes in a box. There you go. Let's have a look at some of these in the flesh. In particular, it'd be good to get the Geomancer in because that gives a sense of the scale. So my favourite,
I love that model.
Cannon. But when you put the
Geomancer
in here, square enough. There we go.
See, you can't let him just put things down.
Like narrative around the events here, which is quite cool. We were having a read. So when we learned that the Geomancer was, in fact, a lady. If you haven't already twigged yet, this is a raptor. This guy, check him out. So you get a nice mix of scale from obviously the Geomancer and the reanimators on the sides. Loads of stuff to feast on. This is going to be a very exciting time for Kill Team. I think the Death Watch are very popular with lots of fans, and they're so iconic within the concept of Kill Team.
I think wouldn't be an exaggeration to say the most requested Kill Team, since the concept of Kill Team was sort of re-emerged into the consciousness.
Absolutely. Right. I think we've done it.
I think we've done it.
We're around the 90-minute mark. I did say it would be a long one, but we've shown you all of our Warhammer previews. We should go to question corner. That was good prompt. Well done, Simon. There's probably a question.
Fucking professionals,
right?
isn't they?
There's quite a few. Yeah. Do you want some rapid fire ones to get you going?
Let's see what we can do.
We're within 12.
Okay, let's go. So start off. Old World. Are the new Tomb King minis resin or plastic?
Plastic.
They are plastic.
Multi-part plastic kits. Definitely said it.
Let's go with the Kill Team Tomb World. Is the new Necron terrain similar in dimension to the Gallowdark terrain?
It is similar. I don't think it's exactly the same.
Yeah, Gallowdark would be a good reference point.
So we've got Warhammer Underworlds. Will the new warbands or any of the re-released Grand Alliance warbands be receiving rules to use them in Warhammer Age of Sigmar?
I believe you can use all of them in Age of Sigmar, can't you? I don't want to. Certainly.
Well,
I'm not going to commit. There you go. Show my face as a face of non-committal.
One thing that is worth saying is that quite a lot of the new battle tomes have a place for the Warhammer Underworlds warbands as generic archetypes of that thing. So the Gloomspite kits, for example, you've got a place for the wolves.
I think that's a more comprehensive answer.
That's
Eddie,
probably the place that you'll find them going forwards.
That's fair. The Hellsmiths are going into Warcraft. We said that already. We have.
Yes.
Yeah. Well done us.
So
been a long 90 minutes.
The Adepts Astartes ones we've just seen. Does Subadin Khan have a helmeted option?
He does have a helmeted option.
Very cool.
Although I think
Safety first.
any adherence to health and safety would be an absolute abomination when you're riding free in the wind.
You
like the
might
White
be
Scars.
riding in a vacuum, at which point you're probably allowed.
Just hold your breath.
Just
Get on with it.
okay,
they've got
cool.
reinforced skulls. I'm sure they'll be fine. So where can we expect to see the lore and rules for the shiny new characters?
That is a great question.
That's a good question.
So the rules will be available online.
So some of the rules, if the character is being re-released, already exist.
Mikey, all I wanted was Dracarys. We've got none of it.
Yeah, Vulcan and Lysander are already there. The other rules will be available online.
And I'm really glad you asked about the lore because I know a thing. Phil Kelly from the Warhammer 40,000 lore team came and had a chat with me, and they've written full background for each of these characters and narrative stories, which we'll be hosting on Warhammer Community in the week leading up to their release when that happens. I'm super excited because I don't know anything about Aethon Shan and I want to learn his story. So yes, there we go.
Awesome. So we've got two more quick ones if we can. So the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness. Are some of the Wargate options that are currently no longer available to certain units ever going to be revisited?
So that's a good question. So we do know that there will be more things released in plastic across the course of this edition. With some of those plastic kits, you may see war gear options returning that have previously been available. You might also see some war gear options that have never existed before.
That's a fucking 100% a planted question, right?
Hopefully that answers some of the question.
Yeah, Grant. One last one was on the Scouring. How many books can we expect to see in the series?
At least one, because it's got the number 1 on the side of it. I don't want to steal the thunder of any future sort of news from Black Library other than to announce it today. But what they have told us, and it was one of the best conversations of my professional life ever to sit down with the editing team from Black Library as they sort of poured the Scouring lore into my open brain, was this is a multi-book, multi-author series, and so you're going to be following it for some years to come.
Grant,
There we go.
Well, there's bazillions more questions that I couldn't possibly get to. They're scrolling past so quick. It's all I could do to find the ones I got. But yeah,
that's great. What remains, I guess, at this point in the juncture is, first of all, to thank all of you for tuning in and spending 90 minutes of brilliant Warhammer fun with us. I've really enjoyed myself.
I had a great time. I always have a great time.
Awesome. There's some like general housekeeping to do. If you've missed anything in this and you want to know more, go to warhammercommunity.com, read the articles that are there on the website. There's pictures, there's more information than Eddie and I would have remembered to tell you, and you can watch the videos back as well. If you are looking for more Warhammer excitement right now in your life, we're going to throw back to Tacoma, where there's Warhammer 40,000 tournament taking place, I believe, right now is what we're going back to. So you can hang around here, especially on the Twitch channel. I believe that is true. What else is there to say? The helmet. Go and find it on warhammermerch.com. I think we're done.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Brilliant. Right. Thank you, Simon, for asking questions. Thanks to the crew here who've made it all work. Eddie, it's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
We can't wait to see you again next time. Take care.
Oh, there was no like weird trailer at the end. Okay. I mean, as reveals go, I've seen worse by far. I've also seen better. I think for me personally, because of my preferences, and I'm aware that this is a bias, but because of my preferences, I absolutely think that the Eldar and Krieg reveals are probably the best ever to date. Space Wolves was pretty good, but I think they kind of fluffed that one by releasing a lot of the rest of it as an article. However, that was a decent enough and out. Like the Votann stuff's pretty cool. The Chaos Dwarfs are really fucking cool. I don't know. I kind of want the helmet as well, John. I just don't have the money to buy the helmet. I kind of want the helmet, but it might be a nice thing eventually. Unless it's limited edition, it might be a nice thing eventually to pick up for Hobby House and have it sat there and people can put it on their head and stuff. That'd be cool. Let me know what you think. Stick it on postcards. Tell me about it. I think it was a pretty okay reveal stream. I think I've seen worse. The thing that lets it down, right? Because if you think about it, in seriousness, the actual product shown was pretty good. The production quality in general, just the resolution and that weird banding that happened makes it a bad fucking show. And I can't understand how a company like Games Workshop can't produce a stream in 4K with good imagery. You're showing off tiny miniatures with tiny detail, and you can't put it out in 4K. Are you fucking serious? It's a pretty good reveal overall. I think, most people who play anything in Warhammer got something out of it. I think it was alright. It was hard to get through. It felt like a drag, I'll be honest. It felt like a drag. It did feel like a drag. And no Drakari makes me sad. No Drakari just kind of depresses me slightly. Oh, I can update my tracker, can't I? Look at that. Hype Train, 104. Leagues of Votann, great. I mean, the Space Marine characters were peak. They probably should have finished with those, though. That White Scars biker, I want him just as a painting product. I don't even want to collect White Scars. Because everything else is generic push-fit Outriders, pretty much, right? But that White Scars biker is... I wonder how many people will buy him for Heresy. We had Drakari heads on the bike. Fair. Fair. Touche. Touche. I mean, overall, I think it was all right. I wasn't like, at any point though, like I have been in the past. And at least they did it in a reason. I mean, I do feel slightly guilty that I have frequently complained about when they do their reveal shows, only for them to do one at a time that I could have streamed. And I was like, I'm not even in the fucking house. I'd like a bit more notice, GW, please. That'd be nice. Complacent Mushroom, thank you so much for 5 gifted memberships. You are on board the hype train, you wonderful human.
Still no Drukari makes me more and more convinced that they will be the big bad of 11th.
Like Launchbox big bad 11th, Chris? Is that what you're saying? Thank you for the $5, dude. And thank you everyone who super chatted during. I don't think I hearted you all, said thank you to all of you because show at the same time, but you're all amazing humans. Love you all. Yeah, we've got them all hearted now. Jobs are good in. That White Scar and Raven Guard are great. They are.
I was pleasantly surprised that Votann got a full set one wave. I said to someone right before I was sad Votann would likely get one model.
I honestly thought that was, John, straight up honestly thought that was going to be the case. I thought Votann were going to get like a single character or some shit, and then Votann players would just be in fucking meltdown. But what's also interesting, do you not think, though, that the Chaos Dwarf release sort of embarrasses, like, Emperor's Children and stuff? Right? They've got, like, a full range release. The second Votann range gives me hope for Wild Eats next edition. Possibly. You can play some mushroom. Thank you for one more gifted membership. Look at you.
I'm buying 2 of the new Raven Guard Chapter Master, 1 to play, 1 to just paint.
I reckon the Raven Guard and the White Scar are going to be, like Kai said earlier, I reckon they're going to be models that people pick up just as painting projects to go on a shelf. My money's on Armageddon for the 11th edition release box. I mean, the release was solid, if not exciting for most people. There are Votann fans will be ecstatic, and I think they look quite cool once they showed the details of them. I was quite happy with those in the end.
Wonder if the characters for Marines is it, or if there is 2.0 Codex on the way. The characters are awesome, but still lackluster rules for the more flavorful units in Marines based on chapters.
I really am not sure whether I think we'll see a Codex 2.0 for Space Marines, because I feel like they just line themselves up for hatred if they do that. I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like that's a terrible idea for them. Especially considering we don't have Drakari and we don't have Votann currently, and we don't have Imperial Knights. We didn't get Demons. White Scar for me is getting a try-hard paint job, even a plinth. I could be into that, Kai, 100%. What do you give EC? Phoenix Guard, Terminators, Sun Killers with Lascars and Apothecary, probably. Yeah. No 2.0 Codex. Yeah, I don't think so, John. I can't see it. I can't see it. I'm going to stay live for another 15 minutes till 4 o'clock, chat, by the way. So we've done a solid, nice round 2 hours. That makes me happy. Marines already have like 5 coats anyway. I'd be interested to see if they do like separate supplements for the other chapters, like Space Wolves and Blood Angels, but for like Raven Guard and stuff. That'd be interesting. Thank you so much, Mortyhammer, for 5 gifted memberships. What a legend. Come on, chat. Just, it's Friday, isn't it? We're all free, having a beer, chilling out. Get it going. Keep it coming, ride the train. Listen to John. He said it, not me. Listen to John. Looks like they're getting combat patrols. Don't think they've had them previously without a supplement. I don't know. Go to work. Thanks for the stream. Thanks for hanging out, Brandon. Love you. Mr. Lagasse. Outriders need different weapon options to become ever good. They're just expensive bolts on wheels. Yeah, mostly. I don't think they're horrific, but you don't see them picked very often. There's a reason, right? Ultimately. What day is it? It's currently Saturday, mate. Saturday. What did I say? Did I say Friday? Did I say Friday? Sorry. It's because normally After Dark's on Friday, right? Saturday afternoon we're having a beer. That's what I meant to say. I'm fucking all over the place at the moment, to be honest with you. So busy. I forget what day of the week it is quite frequently. It's because I don't normally stream on a Saturday. It's normally the only day I don't stream.
Friday. It's Saturday morning and I'm at work. Liam, no hype here, lol.
That sounds like hype. Work's good. Get the hype in. Exclamation mark gift. I could see Outriders dropping in points, those chunky grav bikes being given as a biker variant option. Grav bikes would then cause me problems because I'd want them. I want the white scars, dude, though. I'd like to see how easily he is converted, because I'm now thinking Space Wolf, Thunderwolf cavalry replacement. It's an expensive way to do it for sure, but I'm in the donut shop after my dog walk. Haven't even caught up on Thane's chat. You, how could you? You get really badly beat, John. See, you're our guest. You come over, take it easy. Brian just crushes you into dust. Now I know why we're the favourites. Now I know why we're the favourites. We treat you with guest respect. You really thought Perturabo was going to beat Vulcan? Really, John? Brian was a bit of a tyrant. No news there. No news there at all, to be fair. No chance I have to do the Primarch battle. Of course, that's the cool shit to do. You do a challenge. My 7,000 points of scars and full set of 18 Outriders is both happy and sad at the prospect of new bikes. No, come on, it gives you ways to keep going. Not my best day. John gave you a shout out on Titans, anti-cussed. Did you swear, John? I thought Gabriel Seth, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Chat, with 35 gifted away from 150. You're all insane. Thank you. Insane. What did you say? What was this? What was the swears you did, John? I want to know now. Did you catch it live, or did they sort of brush over it? Oh, now I need to go and watch it. Fuck. Hey, babe, what do you want to watch on TV tonight for date night? We need weapon options badly for Outriders, but you can just add an ATV into the unit. What more did you want? ATVs. That's your weapon options. It's like a tactical squad on wheels. Saturday streams have been good to you twice in a row now, yeah. Yeah, they have, but football season's coming up, right? You need to watch. I will. You said shit. Did they gloss over it, or did they really, really make sure you felt bad? Was it too much time with us on the stream? Is that what it is? Right at the end, though, you did well, to be fair. You did well. It's difficult to turn the swearing off completely. It is hard. I got told off for swearing once on Titans, and I was like, it's not a swear. I think I said goddamn, and they're like, you did swear. I was like, how did I swear? You said goddamn, it's not a swear. I said, no, it is. I said, it's not a swear. No, it is over here. I was like, well, it's called English, so it's not a swear. I have 3 ATVs, they are daft, but they are all we have. It's a tax of my appearance. Touche. Yeah, I'm here for it. Appreciate you, man. You can be an honorary Great Hall team member. And then people know what to expect, right? I don't know if I think Joe would be able to do it nowadays. He used to, obviously, when he was on VT, they didn't allow any swearing. But now I think he's done it for so long, I think he'd struggle. It made Brian's eye twitch and his smile clenched. It was amazing. Excuse me, when we did 10 days of 10th edition, Brian swore on the stream as well. I love Titans, but the heavy no swear thing is a bit too... I mean, to be fair, it's preferential for YouTube in general. Like, YouTube treats your content better if you don't curse in it. John, thank you for 5 gifted, you legend. Yeah, I mean, like, I get it. Like, if YouTube favors your content with no swearing, the algorithm treats it better. It just does. That's a fact. But I think I'd find it too hard to do it full time, and I don't want to be the unauthentic me. So you get swearing. That's what happens here. I've studied swear words as a school teacher. No, as a social teacher. They evolve all the time, and words our grandparents think are swear words. We don't think it's swear words. Oh, 100%, yeah. Tides is right to not swear. It fits their style. It's weird to hear Adrian curse off stream. They did say on their Twitter that if you want more, you should back this one. So yeah, they're hinting at more chapters. That's interesting, isn't it? It feels sanitized, less personality. I guess. Brian's face on the Heresy Talk stream where where John was showing off his t-shirts was priceless. They're good t-shirts, to be fair. I'm here for those t-shirts. They're good t-shirts. Unauthentic, that's what I was looking for. Okay, I get it. Do you think it's mostly because they all swear like troopers off stream? But it does like to give them credit where credit's due. It does make more sense for YouTube, right? Ultimately, so I get it. And it's been suggested to us a few times that we stop swearing, and what I say to that is fuck off. I'm in Google jail. That's all I can do. Don, you flew all the way over here and did 4 Heresy shows with me, 2 games and 2 talking heads. Let's not give it. That's all I can do with what you've done over the course of the last week, right? You're fucking insane, and we're at 120. There's 205 people still watching, John, so don't feel like you have to shoulder it all yourself. All right? And you're still walking sore from the arse fucking that Brian gave you. So, you know. But you are all amazing. We are at the end of my 2 hours. I think it was a good show. I think it was okay. I think the production quality really let it down. I think if the production quality was as good as previous shows, which isn't perfect. I'm not asking for perfect. That being said, they are a multi-million-pound company, multi-billion even. But I think that the content of the show itself was decent if the production quality let it down. And I think if the production quality was better, we'd say pretty decent, good reveal show. And I still think what was revealed is decent and good, but the show itself was a bit naff. It also felt like it drags, like there's bits where they drag it on and they have a picture up of just like a book for 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, I get it. I see the book. Get it fucking down. I don't want to see the book anymore. There's more they could do there, I think, if it was me. It's not bad, but it wasn't great. And I think that sometimes there's a bit like, come on, next. But then that's also possibly personal preference stuff, right? So it's also possibly a lot to do with the fact that I'm not interested in Underworld, so come on, next. And a lot of people go, oh, no, I'm into Underworlds and I want to watch that part. So I guess that's not really a fair criticism. It's just a personal one. But sticking it out in that quality is slightly embarrassing, if I'm honest with you, despite the fact that what they showed off was quite good. There you go. There's my 10 pence. That's what I think. I love the Votann stuff. That's cool. I'm really into the AOS Chaos Dwarfs. I'm quite tempted to jump into those potentially, but I'm not sure. I don't really care for much else until we got back to 40k. I do love those characters, although the Iron Hands one I personally think looks fucking awesome. Awful, not awesome. White Scar's best for me. Raven Guard close second. Lysander third. Then we've got Vulcan Histan, and finally Paddle Dildo Man, who's a bit odd and off and a bit shit. Kill Team looks cool. The Deathwatch stuff looks good. It's just Deathwatch has never been something that personally appeals to me. The Geomancer looks fucking incredible. So all in all, decent show, I think. Lots of stuff that I'm quite excited for. There you go. There's my 10 pence. So, Anything else from you, wonderful humans? They could have shown the blurb of the book before artwork. Yes, exactly. 10 years Sigmar anniversary. Yay. Anyway, yeah, pretty much. Right after the Chaos Wars, they showed the deer people. Yeah. Put them on square bases. Oh, World Bat Rep. I wonder how many people will do that. Right. Anyway, it is now 4 o'clock, you wonderful human beings. You've been amazing. We're at 120 members. Thank you so much. 140 likes. Thank you so much. And £89 in super chats. Thank you so much. 2 out of 3 targets. I'll take it on a Saturday afternoon. You're all awesome heroes. We're back on Monday with the hobby show. I don't know what I'm going to make on the hobby show yet. I haven't decided, but I feel like I want to keep making something. I'm not entirely sure yet. So I'll figure something out and I'll make something on the hobby show to come and join us at 7:30 on Monday for that particular show. Next week, I think, is a full normal week of streaming. So both Tuesday and Thursday have Liam and Joe shows. Both Tuesday and Thursday have games in the evening. Wednesday is the Warhammer show at 7:30. And then Friday we should be back to normal After Dark times at 9 o'clock. I'm just going to check my calendar as I'm saying this because something always pops up and I don't know what the fuck is happening. That looks normal. That looks normal. That looks normal. That looks normal. That looks... Everything looks normal for the week, okay? My calendar looks normal. Nothing's being sprung upon me. I did find out as well about yesterday's stream when Lou said to me on whatever it was, Wednesday, it's in the calendar. I did find out, chat, that it wasn't in the shared calendar. It was on her calendar. So the reason why I intended originally to cover the reveal stream live was because it wasn't in my calendar after all. We shall ask for the public apology on Monday. What we should do. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I hope you have a great Saturday evening. I know a lot of you will be a lot earlier than Saturday afternoon, but I hope you have a great Saturday evening, and I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for all the donations. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the gifteds. Thank you so much for everything. Like I say, in the words of Luce, best chat. Best chat. Hopefully we'll see you on Monday. If not, chat, we'll see you in the next one.